On Wall Street, up for the Dow, down for the NASDAQ. And tennis, Jannik Sinner won the famed Wimbledon tournament a second straight year, beating Alexander Zverev in the final. I'm Dave Anthony, and this is Fox News.
Adult Beverage Solutions is looking for a brand ambassador in all areas for beverage sampling events. You have the ability to create your own schedule because most events take place Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays at local grocery stores and independent liquor stores. Flexible scheduling with the ability to choose events that you would like to work. Receive event pay weekly. State alcohol certification is mandatory for all ambassadors. Must be 21 years of age. Competitive pay with the opportunity to earn bonus for exceptional performance. Each event, you will provide consumers with product education while collecting consumer feedback. If you are interested, our team would like to connect with you about this opportunity. Please email us at careers.abstastings@gmail.com with your information and where you are located, and our team will be in touch soon. Or check us out online at adultbeveragesolutions.com/join-now. That's adultbeveragesolutions.com/join-now.
Sean Thompson here. Recently, someone asked me, what is it that I love most about being on AM 560, The Answer? I didn't hesitate. I love the fact that AM 560 is a family. You, the listeners, our advertisers, and all of us who are on air make up one big family in a very bad place. We look out for each other because we share the same values. And so many of our advertisers are small and medium businesses. They're owners who work very hard. They play by the rules. They pay their taxes. They make their communities even stronger. If that describes you and you own or operate a business, then I want to invite you to consider working with AM 560 to market your business. If you want to reach AM 560 family members, whether through radio, live events, or digital marketing, then call Amy O'Toole. She's a wonderful girl. She's in charge of advertising around here. Call her at 847-472-8925. That's 847-472-8925. Find out how you can become part of the AM 560 family. Together, our family can truly help make America great again.
Meet Matthew Preston. Inside his apartment, everything he holds dear is protected by Progressive's Renter's Insurance, like his laptop and a surprisingly valuable collection of baseball bobbleheads. Outside his apartment, his laptop is still protected, as are his bobbleheads, which he carries around with him for reasons no one knows. Renters, the limits of protection aren't just the four walls of your home. When you're in Progressive's Protection Zone, get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
Shh, here it comes. Surprise! The people above your catering business are doing major construction, and the drilling is only during business hours. It's so loud.
Progressive knows small business owners usually don't like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting personalized discounts on a commercial auto quote with Progressive.
Also, that isn't powdered sugar on the floor. It's plaster from your ceiling.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Alex Marlow sees Iran not playing by the rules again.
The president has said that Iran has violated the ceasefire agreement with the United States by launching at least 4 one-way attack drones at ships in the Strait of Hormuz, which is not entirely unexpected. Tonight, it could be a beautiful day for an early summer bombing of Iran. And I'm cool with that. They don't want to play along. Go bomb them some more. Let's do it.
The Alex Marlow Show. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
We work a lifetime to build a legacy for our families, but the most enduring gift you can give them is the peace of mind you provide when they need it most. When you pre-plan your arrangements at Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, you replace the weight of uncertainty with the gift of clarity. Secure today's costs and protect your family from making emotional and financial decisions at the time of need. It's a final act of love they'll never forget. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5400.
Rick Borick talks about the emotions of stock market investing.
At what point would you rethink your decision that you're invested in the stock market? And you'll notice that someone who answered that question 6 months ago saying, I'm not going to panic until it's down 30%, calls you up on the phone and says, it's down 8, what's going on? And I says, what happened to the 30% guy, right?
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
It's July 13th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National French Fry Day. A staple on nearly every menu from fast food restaurants to state fairs and diners, French fries make the perfect side dish or late-night snack which everyone can enjoy. There's also no wrong way to enjoy eating French fries. You can dunk them in ketchup, drown them in vinegar, or smother them in melted cheese. So whether you enjoy shoestrings, waffle cut, crinkle cut, or simply potato wedges, take a moment to sit back and dig in. Also on this date, in 1923, the iconic Hollywood sign was dedicated. The original sign actually said Hollywoodland when it first went up, but after a renovation in 1949, the last 4 letters were removed. If it's your birthday today, you share it with English actor Patrick Stewart, born in 1940, and actor Harrison Ford.
Look, your worshipfulness, let's get one thing straight. I take orders from just one person, me.
Born in 1942. I'm Tushar Saxena, and that's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
John was an active man. He'd go for runs, walk the golf course, and always take the stairs instead of the elevator. But then bone-on-bone knee pain got in the way and affected his mobility. It became too painful to even go for walks. And when it seemed like John's only option was knee replacement surgery, a friend told him about the Joint Relief Institute and their affordable, non-surgical knee pain relief. John met with the Joint Relief Institute and discovered their lubricating gel treatment could rejuvenate his lost cartilage. Safe, effective, no surgery. Long story short, John is now back to being active without pain or medication.
There is an alternative to knee replacement surgery. Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted. Reclaim your mobility with the Joint Relief Institute.
Have you ever wondered, with all the different religions and interpretations of the Bible, how you can be sure that you're on the right path in your spiritual journey? The powerful new book, You and God, by Peter Philippi, helps you answer this question and discover how to establish a truly personal relationship with God through biblical understanding and faith. Get your copy of You and God by Peter Philippi today by visiting pbmusa.org. That's pbmusa.org.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where 24-pack Crayola crayons are just 50 cents?
Staples has folders, notebooks, and pens at great prices.
I'm smiling from ear to ear. It's the most wonderful time.
Mom, I missed the bus of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples, where school supplies start at just 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit your local Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
Amy Cox did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. And with that money, she decided to treat herself to an anti-aging red light mask. Will she look like a horror movie villain every night? Yes. Will her boyfriend Kevin be scarred for life? That's certainly a risk. But it's Amy's savings, and if she's willing to risk her relationship for smooth, wrinkle-free skin, well, bye-bye, Kevin. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com, to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-431-2715. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-431-2715. 800-431-2715. 800-431-2715.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Croscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Croscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Croscom.
Call Croscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Croscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Croscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Croscom.
Croscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Croscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CroscomPublicAdjusters.com.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today, expect sunny skies with a high of 94. Tonight will be clear and warm with a low of 74. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny and very hot, reaching a high of 96. Wednesday will also be mostly sunny and hot with a high of 96. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering smart security systems to homes and businesses. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Croft filling in for Dan Proft. Off all week. Well, we all got a surprise, didn't we, over the weekend? Lindsey Graham, just an absolute staple of any political daily diet, whether you like him or not, has passed away. He suffered from it's a form of heart disease where the aorta splits open, and then with that, one of the major heart valves, when it splits open, then the blood comes out, and then it basically cuts it in half, and boom, it's over. There was a call of a 911 call. We're learning more this morning from the residents. I don't know if it was from him or somebody else, but there was a 911 call. Cops arrived, fire department arrived, and they could not get in. They called the cops to breach the door. It was deadbolted. They got in and attempted to resuscitate Lindsey Graham, but he did not make it. And I'm saddened by it because I liked the guy. There was a lot of things I didn't like about him from time to time. I remember when Rush, way back when, the late Rush Limbaugh, the great late Rush Limbaugh, called him Senator Grahamnesty, Lindsey Grahamnesty. Do you remember that one? But he was a stalwart. He was a huge, massive supporter of Israel. or as he called it, Israel, if you recall that South Carolinian accent that he had. And he was there at the blessing and the prayer over that my pastor, Dr. Robert Jeffers, gave over the opening of the embassy in Jerusalem. And just an amazing time. I should say the U.S. Embassy finally moved to where it belonged all these years. And he served our country for 33 years. Not including the Senate, but including his time in the Air Force, including retiring as a colonel at 60 years of age 11 years ago. The guy was still serving our country as a JAG officer just 11 years ago, 11 years before his death. Full bird colonel. In addition to that, he obviously served in the Senate for, he served in the Senate since, was it 02? Or I think he started serving in 96. And then took over that seat after a few terms in Congress. And no bigger advocate for Israel than Lindsey Graham. No bigger advocate for bombing the crap out of Iran, but Lindsey Graham. No bigger advocate, whether you like it or not, for Ukraine than Lindsey Graham. He was in Ukraine, as you know. I'm sure you've heard Friday into Saturday. And what you don't know is all the behind-the-scenes stuff. The behind-the-scenes stuff, like he would fly on military cargo planes. And there's no beds, there's no nice seats in the back. He would literally sleep in a sleeping bag on the floor of a military cargo plane at 71 years of age. You know, he was one of the least wealthiest senators. One of the most tenured senators, yet one of the least wealthiest senators. He dies net worth $1.5 million. What I don't like is the comparisons this morning to saying, well, compared to, there's the junior senator from West Virginia who, I think, Justice. He just came on in the past year or two, and they're like, well, he's worth $600 million. The dude just joined in the Senate. He didn't get his wealth from the Senate. Give me a wealthy person like a Nancy Pelosi, somebody that entered, well, she was probably wealthy already when she came in, but she got super duper wealthy. But give me somebody who came in with a very low net worth that after 5, 10, 15, 20 years of serving becomes a multimillionaire. That's what I want to see. So the comparisons that people on our side are making this morning of this West Virginia senator is stupid because the guy was already worth $600 million before he joined the Senate. So that's just not even a good comparison. The point is, Lindsey Graham never enriched himself. Never enriched himself. I don't care how much you dislike him. He never enriched himself. He never got fat off of the war machine that he called for. And I tell you, every time that man gave a full-throated endorsement for ripping the head off and crapping down the throats of the Iranians, I cheered. Every time he made a full-throated ripping the head off and crapping down the throats of the terrorists in Gaza, I cheered. Unabashedly. And Lindsey Graham literally is credited for, as you know, he competed with Trump in the 2016 race, and it got nasty. But then Lindsey, being wise, ended up becoming Trump's biggest advocate and biggest supporter, and actually was one of the very few people that had a very, very, very attentive ear in President Trump when Lindsey Graham would give him wisdom on Iran, would give him wisdom on Ukraine, would give him wisdom on the terrorists in Gaza and in Lebanon via Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, and Iran. In fact, Lindsey is one of the people that really helped talk President Trump into attacking Iran last year in Midnight Hammer and of course, now. So I know a lot of people might not like that about Lindsey, but I loved it about Lindsey. I loved his full-throated, bombed the crap out of him. That's what I like about him. And you see these stupid leftists. I mean, I might read some of the things that they're so vile, and I'm not going to act surprised, or I'm not going to act holier than thou, or whatever, or disgusted. But well, it is disgusting. But I don't care how much I dislike somebody politically that we beat the hell out of in the news all the time. Who in God's name is cheering for somebody's death or celebrating it, let alone publicly? I mean, the left, not everybody, obviously. You see people that you wouldn't even expect on the left that you didn't know really had an affinity for Lindsey Graham. You see people like Chris Coons, who I can't stand. But nonetheless, Chris Coons from Delaware, the protege of the frail and elderly and dementia-laden Joe Biden. Joe Biden praised him as well this morning and last night, if you will, on Twitter. But Chris Coons talked about having lunch or dinner in Ankara, Turkey, at the NATO summit in Turkey. And they were working on stuff together for Ukraine and presumably Iran. And so there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And that's the other thing that Lindsey Graham was noted for that I didn't really know at all, how much of a comedian the guy is and was. And whether it be Democrats in negotiations and yelling at people, then making them laugh, whether it be President Trump, Stephen Miller, President's one of his top advisors, saying this morning. He says this: I hope it brings some measure of comfort to those who cherished him to know just how much he was living his dream every day. Very rarely in life do you get to be exactly where you want to be when you want to be there, with who you want to be with, doing precisely what you want to do. That was every moment for Lindsey Graham. And I can tell you this by reading every article there was to absorb overnight about Lindsey Graham. He was born to parents who owned a restaurant/bar/pool hall. The Lindsey Graham's bedroom was on the other side in the back. He said it was great. I can go get a Coca-Cola anytime I wanted to. He's got one surviving family member. It's his sister. His sister was 13, and he was a Gamecock, which is what the mascot is of University of South Carolina. South Carolina? What is it called? South Carolina? University of South Carolina? What do I know? But the Gamecocks, I believe. And he went there for college, and he was in the middle of school, and he was the first person in his entire family to go to college. And his parents died within 15 months of each other. The mother died from cancer, and I got it right here. The mom died from Hodgkin's lymphoma while he was in school. By the way, in high school he was only a C student. Take heart, take heart. I was a C student at Wheeling High School, or as we like to call it, Wheeling, where Charlie Kirk also went. C high school student, then went to Harper Junior College there in Palatine, a.k.a. University of Southern Palatine, in the Poison Ivy League. High school of ashtrays, we used to call it. And then I finally went to Western Illinois for my last 2 years, and I transferred over, and I decided I wanted to get straight A's because I never did. Here's Lindsey Graham kind of making me think about that. He was a C student in high school, but then he becomes the first member of his family to attend college, enrolling at University of South Carolina. While in school, mom dies from Hodgkin lymphoma. 15 months later, his dad, diagnosed with prostate cancer, died of a heart attack. Sister, at that time, 13. He's in college. What does he do? He's going to raise his sister. He adopts her, if you will, or he becomes her legal guardian, I should say. And he raised her. And I thought about this. You know what kind of you and I, the chips are so stacked against us if you were raising a single-parent household, raising a child. Now, I don't have that difficulty. Most of us don't, that are, about faith, family, and marriage and everything. But he had to do that. And he had to do that while going to law school. Do you have any freaking idea how difficult that was for him? How he was just holding together while he was raising a sister, and he did it. And he became this humble young man that would turn into a congressman, that would turn into a U.S. senator and become one of the most foremost names in politics in the world. And he was always who he was, and he never changed who he was, and he never compromised. And I say it again, he was one of the least wealthiest people in all of Congress when he could have been one of the most wealthiest people in all of Congress. Whether you agree with how he did things or not, he was exactly what is right with people who serve this country. I'm going to play some audio coming up next of his kind of some of the greatest hits with Justice Kavanaugh. He was just a warrior in that. Donald J. Trump, of course, President Trump talking about him. We'll play some of that this morning coming up next. And how he had a lot of fun with Ketanji Brown Jackson in her hearing, and even jokes with Elena Kagan that she thought was serious in her hearing, but it wasn't. It was Lindsey being Lindsey. All that's next. It's Chris Crock in for Dan Proft on AM 560 The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
Most Americans think of Abraham Lincoln and they think of the Civil War or the Emancipation. But in 1862, he signed another hugely significant piece of legislation, the Homestead Act. It offered eligible Americans up to 160 acres of land, not as a prize for the powerful, but as an opportunity for ordinary families willing to live on it, work it, and build something lasting. Why did it matter? Because Lincoln understood that freedom was not merely the absence of tyranny. Rather, freedom required responsibility, labor, stewardship, and moral courage. A free people must be given room to build, but they also must be willing to cultivate what they have been given. That still matters today. Liberty without responsibility decays. Opportunity without character collapses. Lincoln's lesson is clear. A nation stays free when its people remain willing to work, build, and steward freedom under God.
AM 560. The Answer.
All of the audio of President Trump talking about losing his friend Lindsey Graham and Lindsey fighting hard for Kavanaugh against Ketanji Brown Jackson and so much more coming up next. It's Chris Crocker for Dan Proft, 560 The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Here's Mike Scott with your news.
At 5:31 in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Hot day, plenty of sun, and the beginning of another heat wave, at least through Wednesday. High of 94. A high-profile Chicago priest faces a new sex abuse allegation. Father Michael Pfleger has been removed from ministry at St. Sabina Church as the Archdiocese of Chicago investigates the latest sex abuse accusations. Pfleger says a woman who went to school at St. Sabina claims he sexually abused her between 1993 and 95 when she was a minor. He denies the accusation. This is the fifth person to accuse the Southside pastor of sexual abuse. Pfleger, the priest, was cleared of those previous claims. The FAA will extend a limit on the number of flights at O'Hare into next year. Daily flights have been limited to just over 2,700 since May. The reduction will now last until October of 2027, and it's one of the main ways delays are being reduced at O'Hare. One person is dead after a boat hit a break wall in Hammond, Indiana. Officials say the incident happened Saturday night on Lake Michigan near the Hammond Marina. 6 on board had to be rescued from the water. One person later died. Illinois State Police are investigating a death following a standoff in Decatur. Authorities say officers were called out Friday night on a report of an armed person barricaded inside a home in the 600 block of Wickless Road. 7 were shot in an East St. Louis shooting on Sunday morning. 5 of the 7 are dead. 2 are in critical condition. And this morning, Illinois State Police say all of the victims are related. 2 teens, 15 and 16 years old, are in custody. An investigation is underway following an officer-involved shooting in downtown Chicago. Officers responded early yesterday to the call of a large gathering in the 300 block of East Balbo Drive. Illinois House will convene a special investigative committee after 11 House Republicans filed paperwork on Friday. House Speaker Chris Welch announcing the committee late Friday afternoon, saying the House will follow its rules beginning this week when it investigates Representative Carol Ammons, a Democrat from Champaign, and her husband, Aaron, the Champaign County Clerk. Flags are flying half-staff at the White House and on Capitol Hill following the death of Senator Lindsey Graham. The 71-year-old lawmaker's sudden and unexpected death was announced by his office. Iran striking back after the latest round of American attacks. Iran's Revolutionary Guard says it launched several attacks against U.S. bases in several Gulf countries overnight. Actor Sam Neill, best known for playing Dr. Alan Grant in the Jurassic Park franchise, but also starring in such greats as The Piano, The Hunt for Red October, and The Horse Whisperer, is dead at the age of 78. Neill had been diagnosed with stage 3 blood cancer, but had been declared cancer-free in April. A man accused of trespassing at Governor Pritzker's home in Chicago. Court documents say Dwayne Milton was seen jumping the fence on July 4th. The White Sox taking home the top prize in the MLB draft. Club drafting UCLA shortstop Rock Chalowski with the first pick in the draft on Saturday. Then taking one of our local favorites, Landon Thome, with the compensatory 34th pick in the first round. Yes, he's the son of Hall of Famer Jim Thome. He played for Nazareth Academy in LaGrange Park. Cubs heading into the break after an 8-4 win over the Reds, and the first-place White Sox swept their 3-game home series, crushing the A's 9-1. The news, a service of Mattress Firm. Trouble sleeping lately? Upgrade to the great sleep you deserve at Mattress Firm sale. Choose from a curated selection of top brands and let their experts narrow it down. They make sleep easy. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And in 2 minutes, we'll check the AccuWeather forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by Virago and by State Farm Insurance Agent Anthony DeGrotto.
This is attorney Robert Nauman of Nauman & Associates. Thank you, 560 listeners, for your continual phone calls to request our service in your estate planning matters. To share an example, a couple met with our team about an adult child that will need assistance after they both pass away. We created a trust with provisions that will protect that adult child and the rest of the family for years after they're gone. Give us a call when you're facing special circumstances with adult children. We'd love to help you protect your estate and your family. NALawgroup.com or 847-593-8777.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
Most Americans think of Abraham Lincoln and they think of the Civil War or the Emancipation. But in 1862, he signed another hugely significant piece of legislation, the Homestead Act. It offered eligible Americans up to 160 acres of land, not as a prize for the powerful, but as an opportunity for ordinary families willing to live on it, work it, and build something lasting. Why did it matter? Because Lincoln understood that freedom was not merely the absence of tyranny. Rather, freedom required responsibility, labor, stewardship, and moral courage. A free people must be given room to build, but they also must be willing to cultivate what they have been given. That still matters today. Liberty without responsibility decays. Opportunity without character collapses. Lincoln's lesson is clear. A nation stays free when its people remain willing to work, build, and steward freedom under God.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today, expect sunny skies with a high of 94. Tonight will be clear and warm with a low of 74. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny and very hot, reaching a high of 96. Wednesday will also be mostly sunny and hot with a high of 96. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crock in for Dan Proft. can follow me on X, Facebook, Instagram, at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show, ChrisKrok. Everything we're talking about this morning will be up on my X feed. And podcast is up there, too, as well as at YouTube and Rumble at Crock Talk, KROKTALK. Lindsey Graham, of course, passed away this weekend at 71 years of age. Very sad. Very sad. Unexpected, of course. You know, my wife was talking to her mom tonight. She's over in Lake in the Hills. I guess I should say last night. And about her health problems, her health issues, and my wife said, well, you know, my parents in the Chicagoland area, about 80, and she said, well, you know, I said, well, listen, she's talking about her problems. I said, well, you could be worse. You could be Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham didn't make it past 71. It happens. But he was the only Republican, one of the only Republicans he was in the Senate delegation, at the opening of the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem in 2018. Not one elected Democrat went to the embassy opening of Jerusalem in 2018, but Lindsey Graham was there with a delegation from the Senate. I want to play some of his highlights from over the years. Let's start out, first of all, with President Trump and his reaction.
I got a call last night sometime at, the early evening, maybe in the 7s, and he called and he said, we're all set for the Save America Act. He was pushing the Save America Act like crazy. He got back, said he just landed from Ukraine. I said, that's a long trip to make. He said, he sounded a little tired, but perfect, but a little bit tired. Had a right to be. And he was a worker. He was really a worker, but he sounded great, actually. But he actually said he was tired, but he wanted to pass the Save America Act. And I said, well, we're going to get it done, Lindsey. We're going to get it done. I'll see you soon. We thought maybe we might even meet today. And then that was it. And that was, very around the time. It couldn't have been much longer. It could have been his last call. I don't know exactly, but I got a message about 1 o'clock in the morning from one of the people at his office that he had passed away. I said, I just can't believe it. He was like a member of the family to me. It's very tough, actually. It's amazing.
Mr. President,
he was such an advocate. He was, if he wanted to get something, and he had a unique ability. He was able to deal with Democrats and Republicans. If I had a problem, a real problem, I wouldn't often ask. But if I had a problem with a Democrat, he could work it out. He was a great politician, actually.
They were such loggerheads when they ran against each other in 2016. But Lindsey figured out real quickly that he should become an ally of President Trump's and would end up becoming one of his strongest allies. Here is Trump with talking about Lindsey and Kavanaugh, Justice Kavanaugh.
His moment was literally one of the great classics of anyone in the Senate when he defended Brett Kavanaugh so brilliantly. And Brett might not have made it except for that. They were treating him very unfairly. Good man. They treated him so unfairly, and Lindsey was so angry at the Senate because of it, and he had really an emotional moment. And I think that saved Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court, ascension.
Let's go to the highlights of Lindsey Graham and Brett Kavanaugh in his confirmation hearing, where Brett Kavanaugh was viciously, disgustingly accused of gang rape from Christine Blasey Ford, who didn't know what year, didn't know anything, and nobody could corroborate anything, but the Democrats believe all women, unless she's a Republican. If it's Graham Plattner and it's a woman, don't believe her if she's Republican. Only believe it when a Democrat woman says he sexually assaulted her. Here is Lindsey Graham with Brett Kavanaugh.
What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them. You've humiliated this guy enough, and there seems to be no bottom for some of you.
If he would say a polygraph, it would all be over, Senator
So
Grant.
why don't we dunk him in water and see if he floats?
Some people think Kennedy in Louisiana is a funny one. Lindsey gets him by far. Here he is really going hard in the Kavanaugh hearing.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. Are you a gang rapist?
No.
I cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham, that you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it because these have been my friends. But let me tell you, when it comes to this, you're looking for a fair process. You came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend.
And this is another part from that powerful speech Lindsey Graham gave at the Kavanaugh hearings.
Here's my understanding. If you lived a good life, people would recognize it, like the American Bar Association has the gold standard. His integrity is absolutely unquestioned. He is the very circumspect in his personal conduct, harbors no biases or prejudices. He's entirely ethical, is a really decent person. He is warm, friendly, unassuming. He's the nicest person. The ABA. The one thing I can tell you, you should be proud of. Ashley, you should be proud of this. That you raised a daughter who had the good character to pray for Dr. Ford. To my Republican colleagues, if you vote no, you're legitimizing the most despicable thing I have seen in my time in politics. You want this seat? I hope you never get it. I hope you're on the Supreme Court. That's exactly where you should be. And I hope that the American people will see through this charade. And I wish you well, and I intend to vote for you, and I hope everybody who's fair-minded will.
And Kavanaugh, of course, would become our Supreme Court justice. And then here's this with Lindsey Graham and Elena Kagan. He's asking her a question for levity, and she takes it seriously and starts to answering it like it's serious, but it has nothing to do with levity. I'm sorry, with
where are you at?
With a serious question. It has stuff to do with having fun and making some light in a difficult time.
Where are you at on Christmas Day?
Senator Graham, that is an undecided legal issue, which, I suppose I should ask exactly what you mean by that. I'm assuming that the question you mean is was apprehended in the United States.
No, I just asked you where you're at on Christmas.
You know, like all Jews, I was probably at a Chinese restaurant.
Great answer. Great answer.
You know, I could almost see that one coming. I thought,
Me too. So you were celebrating Hanukkah.
Senator Schumer explained this to me earlier.
Yeah, he did.
If I might, no other restaurants are open.
Right. You were with your family on Christmas Day at a Chinese restaurant. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's great. That's what Hanukkah and Christmas is all about.
And then he certainly didn't have a lot of fun with Ketanji Brown Jackson, who has proven to be the most incompetent activist and doubly incompetent justices we've ever had.
Her judicial philosophy is to rule impartially.
No, my judicial philosophy is to rule impartially and to
rule consistent with the limitations on my authority as a judge. And so my methodology actually helps me to do that in every case.
So you wouldn't say that you're an activist judge?
I would not say that.
Okay. So we'll have 20 minutes more later on, but here's what I would say. That every group that wants to pack the court, that believes this court is a bunch of right-wing nuts that are going to destroy America, that consider the Constitution trash, all wanted you picked. And this is all I can say, is the fact that so many of these left-wing radical groups that would destroy the law as we know it declared war on Michelle Childs and supported you is problematic for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Graham.
Lindsey was onto something. Of course, you heard Dick Durbin there. Durbin, who none of us are really fans of, but nonetheless, he spoke highly of Lindsey as well, too. It's always nice to see people who battle the hell out of each other to say nice things about people when they pass away. Lindsey Graham passed away at 71 years of age, and we'll be talking to one of his hometown newspaper folk who really has the deep stories on who Lindsey is, who Lindsey was, and what the latest with him in his personal life, his public life, his South Carolina life. We'll be talking to a journalist from there, Andy Brack, editor and publisher of the Charleston City Paper and State House Report at 8:08 this morning. So that'll be good to really hear from him in the backyard there of the former senator. Meantime, Lindsey Graham was a defender of rights of lawful gun owners because he saw what disarmed populations can suffer around the world. And you have to look no further than Iran. What do you think it would be like if the average person in Iran had an AR-15? Do you think that they would be able to take their freaking country back at this time? Do you think if the average Iranian had even a handgun, that they might be able to retake their country back? If we lived in a world the Democrats want us to live in, with tremendous oppressive restrictions on our guns, then Iran would never be able to defend itself, and we would never be able to defend ourselves. I should say the Iranian people would never be able to defend themselves, and we would never be able to defend ourselves. Isn't it so interesting that we can have people try to tear apart our rights with our guns? And I'm going to focus on the AR-15s with the recent decision of the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, and saying that it is lawful to ban AR-15s in the state of Illinois. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you ask any Iranian, any one of the 85% of the Iranian people who are against this Islamist terrorist regime, if they could have an AR-15, what do you think they would say? And then a Democrat would come and say, you can't have that. That's a weapon of war. I want to hit on the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals decision and an editorial written Sunday by not the Sun-Times, but the Tribune. We'll get into that coming up next. It's Chris Crock, and for Dan Proft, 560, AM 560, I should say, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer. Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
Making the switch to a new communications and IT company may seem like a big ordeal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs, meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore, Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. We'll make the switch easier than you think. Let's talk. Call 800-804-8333 or visit AccessOneInc.com. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. That's AccessOneInc.com. Tech made personal locally.
Alex Marlow cuts through the political spin on the Alex Marlow podcast.
The economics of illegal immigration is so dumb. It's so stupid for Americans. We want American dollars to stay in America. That's how the economy grows. But if I pay an illegal alien and they send 50% of it home, the money doesn't go to American businesses. It goes to another country. Why do we want that? It's a race to the far left Islamist wing of the party.
Subscribe for free today on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life. AM 560. The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crock in for Dan Proft. Seventh Circuit made the right decision on Illinois assault weapons ban, says the editorial board in the Tribune. I'm sure you're not surprised. I'm not surprised either, but let's see what they say. Quote, "Do we have to live like this?" They wrote after the Highland Park massacre on the 4th of July, 2022. And I remember because my dad and mom took the grandkids, not mine, but some of my other siblings, the grandchildren, and they were at a 4th of July parade on that day, too, not too far from Highland Park. And I even had somebody here. I'm a Chicago transplant. I'm in North Texas and Dallas-Fort Worth. But I had somebody here who's was over there at the time it happened in Highland Park. You know, we all saw this and were horrified by it. But, you know, it's funny because they don't mention the mentally ill, maniac, lunatic, and his dad who covered for his kid, got the gun, did all these things to support this terrorist and not stop him. And now comes the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals to tell us that we can't have a freaking AR-15. Can I tell you something? I got folks in my family. You know, you cannot own. This is one of the most neutering things that you could imagine for me. That you cannot own a semi-automatic shotgun in the state of Illinois unless you're law enforcement. What in God's name is this? And by the way, there are AR-15s you and I know everywhere throughout the state of Illinois. Come and take it, right? But this idea that you can't handle, it is the most neutering, shameful thing to say that a man or a woman can't handle a semi-automatic shotgun, can't handle an AR-15, can't have one. It's a weapon of war. This is what the Tribune they wrote, "Do we have to live like this?" Yes. No, we don't have to live like this. Why doesn't anybody write about the maniac and the maniac's dad? They just talk about a gun. You know, Chung Ho Shui, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, was the Virginia Tech massacre terrorist who slaughtered like 27 people with 2 handguns. And I've never heard them go after handguns. Have you? I think of how neutering and pathetic it is to say that you can't have a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds for your long gun. I don't know. I got 4 30 magazines. I got 5 30-round magazines, and they're filled. They're ready to go. My gun hasn't jumped up and shot anybody. Has yours? The Trib says after the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals ruling saying that that the state of Illinois can take away your AR-15 or at least stop them from being sold, quote, "It means we must rid ourselves of assault weapons." There's no such thing as an assault weapon. You know that, and I know that. In fact, they can't define it. Define it. Go. Remember the Bill Clinton, quote-unquote, assault weapons ban? How did that work out? Nothing changed. They say, quote, "This means that we must rid ourselves of assault weapons." Yeah, let's cut our you-know-whats off and throw them in a pile. No. The tool of choice, they say, for disillusioned, nihilistic killers who hope to kill scores of innocent people at once, as was the case in Highland Park Parade, but that no one needs for sporting purposes or self-defense. First of all, you are not going to tell me how I'm going to defend myself. You are absolutely never going to tell me how I'm going to defend myself. And when I call the cops, God help you if you're in the city of Chicago for response times, but they ain't going to be there for 4 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes. You are your only protector in almost every single case. I want to continue with this. You can chime in as well at 312-642-5600, 312-642-5600. I want to get more in depth into this and what some of these leftist lunatics trying to take away our guns are saying about this. It's Chris Kroc on Chicago's Morning Answer, AM 560 The Answer. Chris in for Dan Proft. And this is, I should say, AM 560 The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer, WIND, Chicago.
Paying tribute to Lindsey Graham. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump will do that next hour on Fox and Friends on TV. Congresswoman Sherry Biggs, a Republican, tells Fox.
Senator Graham exemplifies what a servant member does, and I'm very proud to have known him. I'm honored to hold the seat that Senator Graham held.
The 71-year-old Republican died Saturday night after emergency crews responded to a report of chest pains at Graham's home in Washington. Fox's Jonathan Serrier reports from the late senator's hometown, Central South Carolina.
There was this history of heart disease in the family, and at least based on the preliminary findings from the medical examiner, it appears that Lindsey Graham succumbed to heart disease, that aortic dissection or tear in his aorta.
South Carolina Republican Governor Henry McMaster will appoint a replacement senator to serve out Graham's term till January. On August 11th, there will be a special primary election to find a new Republican nominee for the November election. Now an update on another senator who's been absent but vows to finish out his term till January after rehab.
Mitch McConnell is breaking his silence about his health. The Kentucky Republican releasing a statement saying he fell at his home in Washington a few weeks ago and then later developed a mild case of pneumonia. He was also briefly knocked unconscious. Rumors have been swirling about his condition, doctors confirming he did not break any bones or suffer any other serious medical issues.
As Fox's Marianne Rafferty, the U.S. and Iran keep battling again after a third wave of American military attacks trying to keep the Strait of Hormuz open.
Iran once again firing on its neighbors. Jordan, Oman, Bahrain, and Kuwait all took fire. The Kuwait is saying that border crossings, even an oil rig were hit out there. This follows another round of U.S. strikes. The U.S. says everything from missile launching sites to maritime locations that Iran was using to menace shipping in the Strait were hit.
That's Fox's Mike Tobin in Tel Aviv. America's listening to Fox News. In Chicago on this Monday morning, 69 degrees and partly cloudy skies in the QC Kinetics newsroom. A high-profile Chicago priest faces new sex abuse allegations. Father Michael Pfleger has been removed from his ministry at St. Sabina Church as the Archdiocese investigates the latest sex abuse allegations. These from between 1993 and 95, when the woman was a minor. Parish members are backing Pfleger.
I haven't changed anything about him. I think everything's really false. My thing is, why wait all this time?
The priest denies the accusation, and this is the fifth person to accuse the Southside priest of sexual abuse. Pfleger was cleared from those previous claims. One person is dead after a boat hit a break wall in Hammond, Indiana. It happened Saturday night on Lake Michigan near the Hammond Marina. 6 on the boat were rescued from the water. Later, one person died. 7 were shot in an East St. Louis shooting Sunday morning. 5 of the 7 who were shot have now died. 2 remain in critical condition. All of the victims are related.
Because they're all related, and because of the definition of what a mass shooting is, and also the proximity, but because of one common connection and the way this is unplayed, it may be appropriate to characterize it as a mass shooting.
Illinois State Police, 2 teens, 15 and 16, are in custody after state police performed a pit maneuver to stop the vehicle the suspect was in. Both suspects are related. One of these suspects is related to the person killed. Former Illinois Public Health Director Nirav Shah has now thrown his name into the list of potential candidates to replace former Maine U.S. Senate candidate Graham Plattner. Shah, you may recall, served as director of the IDPH under former Governor Bruce Rauner and would serve alongside Senator Tammy Duckworth, who was adamant about Shah resigning after what Duckworth said was poorly handled responses to an outbreak of Legionnaire's disease. Cubs heading into the All-Star break after securing an 8-4 win over the Reds. First place White Sox 9-1 winners over the Athletics. The News, a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges. And you can join today at 560theanswer.com/join. A check of the roads in 2 minutes on AM 560.
Scott Jennings sees them just wanting more money.
You know, it is amusing to me that people like Ro Khanna, who spend literally trillions of your dollars every year, are now telling us that if we could just spend a few $100 billion more, all hunger, all health care, all everything could be solved.
The Scott Jennings Show. Weekdays at noon, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your saving? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, it's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Text SHELTER to 989898.
Hey, this is Sean Thompson. You know, most of us spend our entire lives in the paycheck mode. You work, you get 30% taken from the G, you pay your bills, repeat and rinse. And that's how time goes by. Then all of a sudden you're old. Retirement hits. Suddenly, you're the one who has to figure out your paycheck that isn't there anymore. Markets are bumpy, prices are up, things can get stressful real fast. That's why having a real income plan matters. Tom Fortino and the team at Alpha Wealth Group can help you build a strategy to turn your hard-earned savings into a reliable retirement income. They coordinate with your Social Security and your tax planning so you can stop wondering if you're withdrawing the right amount at the right time. Tom Fortino and the people of Alpha Wealth Group have been doing this for 30 years. They can help you by giving you a complimentary retirement roadmap. And all you have to do is call 630-864-6711. That's 630-864-6711 or online at alphawealthgroup.com.
.607 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Tri-State Tollway early morning heavies southbound on the off-ramp to westbound 190 to get out at the big airport this morning. Stevenson inbound jammed up central to Kedzie and the Kennedy already on the brakes between I-90 and Manheim Road. Traffic, a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Download the app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And up next, the latest forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today, expect sunny skies with a high of 94. Tonight will be clear and warm with a low of 74. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny and very hot, reaching a high of 96. Wednesday will also be mostly sunny and hot with a high of 96. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering 24/7 security solutions for homes and businesses. Call them today at 708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crock in for Dan Proft. 312-642-5600 is our number. 312-642-5600. The Chicago Tribune editorial board celebrating the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals decision to 2-1 decision to support Governor Pritzker's ban on buying an AR-15. There's no such thing as an assault rifle, and nobody can define it, and good luck trying to regulate it like they did with the quote-unquote assault weapons ban under Bill Clinton. It didn't do anything. And meanwhile, you have, and this will go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said it will consider this constitutional right to possess AR-15s, for example. And they took up a challenge to Cook County's, quote, assault weapons ban, quote-unquote. And I feel they're gonna definitely support it, and they better. But let's look at this. State Representative Bob Morgan from Highland Park, where the massacre happened, where they're using that to, and they're using a horrific tragedy to try to take away our constitutional rights. Think about that for a minute. They're using a tragedy where people were slaughtered to take away your right and my right. They're vilifying, they're vilifying us. If you have an AR-15 like I do, they're vilifying you. Quote, the Tribune says the tool of choice, AR-15, the tool of choice for disillusioned, nihilistic killers who hope to kill scores of innocent people at once. No one needs an AR-15 for sporting purposes or self-defense. It's none of your damn business what I do with my AR-15. And you know what? I may use my AR-15 for self-defense. It's my business, not yours. You can go to Great Britain, where I could not believe this in like 06 or 07-ish. I saw a story that I thought was fake. It said that Great Britain is looking at considering banning long stem kitchen knives. I thought to myself, this can't be real. They're going to ban long stem kitchen knives? Yes, because banning knives was not enough. Of course, unless you are a Sikh, then you can have a kirpan, which you can use to murder a white guy who dies in the street, and they arrest the white guy who was murdered, of course. Nonetheless, when banning guns isn't enough, then they go to banning long stem kitchen knives. And anyway, going back to Bob Morgan, Democrat, Highland Park, the chief sponsor of the ban of AR-15s, issued a statement after the ruling saying the ban has already led to record lows of gun violence and mass shootings. We are saving lives in Illinois with our assault weapons ban. Really? So how many acts of, quote, gun violence, guns don't commit violence, but nonetheless, how many acts of gun violence and mass shootings have we stopped? Bob, tell me about this. Bob, you're taking away our rights. So tell me about this. Can you name the people that were stopped? How many nihilistic homicidal shooters went to try to buy an AR-15 yesterday or last week or last month that were denied? As I recall, the lunatic in Highland Park had that gun, and his dad didn't do anything to report him or stop his actions and such like that. But Lindsey Graham, huge supporter of the Second Amendment. Lindsey Graham knew what the people of Iran need, and what they need right now is AR-15s. If your government is going to use its power against you, and we have some crazy stuff this morning about the Democrat Socialists of America, which are just communists, and what their platform is all about and what they're pushing. I'm going to get more in depth in this in a little bit later, but they're literally attempting to, what they're going to do now with their new platform is they're going to take the U.S. Senate. They want to eliminate the United States Senate. They want to replace the president and the Supreme Court with an executive branch and judiciary chosen by and subordinate to Congress. They want to have They want to have power within one body to control everything. What do you think they will do to your guns? What do you think they will do to you if you don't have weapons to defend yourself? So no, Bob, I don't see the long list of people that were going to do mass shootings, but were banned to buy an AR-15 from your ban. No. 312-642-5600 is our number, 312-642-5600. In Mexico, they had them turn in all their weapons, take away all their weapons. I have a friend who's from Mexico. He's a Mexican-American, dual American citizen. And he told me about what they did, I think in the 70s or the 80s, had every one of those people turn every one of their guns in so the narcos could have the guns, but not them. Craig, you're chiming in from Mount Greenwood. You are on AM 560 The Answer. Chris in for Dan.
Chris, thank you much for taking my call. Just to put things in context, hey, and by the way, really appreciate you covering important subjects. This one here, when you talk about things that are important to talk about, just like our right to talk and have free speech, this one is a little bit different. It's even more important, and it's just as solid and should be protected the same way, but it's not. It's like you should get permission to talk and everything like that. It doesn't go anywhere. But with our Second Amendment right, you got to get permission. Anyways, you get my point there.
Yeah, I mean, what other right do they try to? What other right do they try to take away when there's a tragedy? What other right do they come for? Do they come for First Amendment? What other rights do they go for other than our guns?
Exactly. But here's the thing. So I'm within months of Lindsey Graham's age, so I'm an older guy. Same with my wife. And the thing about the AR-15, it's a very well designed weapon. They designed it for the military to be light and efficient and so on. But here's the thing: the military AR is a machine gun. It's got a switch. You can switch to machine fire. That's not the AR that the general public can buy. The general public can only buy a semi-automatic with the other good designs that give an old guy the ability to hold on to it with a pistol grip.
These idiots that are trying to ban guns and they're taking our guns from us, they don't know their butt from a hole in the ground when it comes to a firearm, as you know, too. They don't know the difference between automatic, semi-automatic. These freaking people, you listen to them talk, and they have no idea what semi-automatic versus fully automatic means. They'll call an AR-15, which is, of course, a semi-automatic, they'll call that a machine gun, a weapon of war. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate your call on the Alpha Wealth Group call and text line. Edison Park, let's talk to Bob. Bob, you're on AM 560 The Answer. Chris in for Dan.
Hey, Chris. The Second Amendment for years, since Roosevelt, with the original, I can't remember what it was called, the NAA or the NFAA, it's been a second-class right. Let's face it. And I'll be honest with you, I hate when I hear the term legal gun. Okay, there's no such thing as an legal gun. They're all legal, unless I guess they're stolen. The other thing I hate to hear is a legal gun owner or he had a permit to carry. You don't need a permit to carry. Right. You are born with a permit to carry. Even, and I'll go this far, and you may disagree, even a felon who has done their time in prison and paid their debt, they cannot be barred the use of a firearm. You can't gag them. You can't put a ball gag in them. They say, and that's another argument too. They talk about the crowded movie theater. You can't yell fire in there. Nobody's putting a ball gag on you when you go into the theater. We've got to start taking this as even the so-called right. I hear your own radio station call it gun violence over the weekend.
There's no such thing as gun violence. There is no such thing as gun violence. Guns do not commit violence. People commit violence. Guns don't commit violence. I have several guns in the other room over there. I carry mine with me on my person wherever I go outside of this house. And let me tell you something. No gun of mine has ever committed violence. My AR-15's never jumped up and started shooting people. Going back to, there was on this Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals ruling to take away our AR-15s. One of the dissenters, the only dissenter out of the three, U.S. District Judge Stephen McGlynn, I'm sorry, no. And he is one of the one that ruled it was. I'm sorry, yes, yeah. His November ruling, the first one before it went to the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, Seventh Circuit. His ruling that the law is unconstitutional, banning our AR-15s. He says, why do we protect ourselves with firearms? Why do we protect ourselves with firearms? Who comes to our aid in times of peril, he asks. Sometimes it's the police or first responders. Other times it's healthcare professionals. Sometimes it's family and friends or neighbors. Sometimes it's no one. When you call the cops, you will be lucky if they arrive in 8 minutes or less. You will never, the cops on a mass shooting will never be there in time, and it's not knocking them, it's the truth. You are your best and many times your only defender. And if you're in a situation, you will wish you had a firearm. Now, maybe you won't, but that's a choice. Isn't that a beautiful choice? You get to choose whether you want it or whether you don't want to carry it with you. The federal appellate judge, Amy St. Eve, who was appointed by Trump, one of the two of the three U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals that ruled against for Governor Pritzker's gun grab, quote, she said, whatever else may be contributing to America's mass shooting epidemic, the record makes one thing clear. The more people killed, the more likely it is that the killer used a, quote, assault weapon and large-capacity magazine. This is insanity. Going back to Virginia Tech, that massacre, Chung Ho Shui killed 27 freaking people with 2 handguns. They are not trying to take away our handguns yet, but that'll be next. And let's go back to the people of Iran. Wouldn't it be great if they were armed? Do you think the people of Iran would even be in this situation if they were armed? Will in Skokie. Will, you're on AM 560 The Answer. Chris in for Dan.
Good morning. Simple answer for people who use this weapons of war meme. You say, which army in the world, name me one army in the world that uses the AR-15.
That's a hell of a question right there.
Right.
What,
and you know, you see these all the time on, you know, you see the cops carrying them too. And everybody says, oh, those are automatic. No, they're not automatic. They're just semi-automatic AR-15s. Right. If a cop can have it, why can't I? And, you know, I prefer my 45 Colt Remington cowboy gun because it's a bigger bullet.
That's a nice gun. But yeah, that's a great question. What war has ever been fought with an AR-15?
Exactly.
None, because none of them are fully automatic. Who the hell wants to fight a war with a semi-automatic rifle?
Also, fully automatic rifle is not very accurate at distance. It's like if you're close to people and you want to spray them.
You want to mow them down. That's a fully automatic. And I've shot them. I'm sure you have. Sure. I have the privilege of being a radio guy for several years and had endorsements with gun ranges and gun shops and gun stores. My kid was firing an Uzi. He was like 15, 14. They had the strap so it wouldn't go all over the place, but he had fun with that one. It's a weapon of war. Well, nobody died. One lunatic does one thing, or a few lunatics here or there do a few things, and then we're the bad guys with our AR-15s. Do you think they would have us? They would take them away with force if they could? Because what they're doing is indicting us, saying we can't be trusted. I just go back to the astounding fact that, you know, I'm sitting in Texas and I can buy as many AR-15s as I want. I'm sitting in Texas. I can buy a semi-automatic shotgun that can hold 6 rounds, 8 rounds, well, 6 to 8 depending on what shotgun. Hold 6 rounds in the chamber and go poof, 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 poof. I was up in Minnesota visiting my wife's in-laws a month or two ago, and we shot off the porch of her uncle who's in rural Minnesota. We shot his semi-automatic shotgun. It was a beautiful thing, a lot of fun. But you can't have one unless you're law enforcement in Illinois. It's embarrassing. It's shameful. It's the left neutering you is what it is. I want to get into the latest with illegals. Did you see that Mexico is now preparing to file charges or some kind of file criminal charges and trying to sue the government and ICE for the deaths of their illegals? I want to get into this because this is crazy. This is unbelievable. Mexican officials prepare for legal battle over deaths of citizens during U.S. immigration enforcement. If Mexico is going to try to prosecute us for rounding up their illegals, if Mexico is going to try to sue us, by the way, this is our freaking country. You can't sue us. Get out of here. Take all of your illegals with you. But if you're going to try to sue us and prosecute us, then you know what I want as an American? I want reparations. I want reparations for every one of your Mexican illegals who has murdered or raped, kidnapped, bludgeoned, assaulted, terrorized, maimed every single Chicagoland person, every Illinoisan, and every American in this country. I demand reparations for what you've done to us. Oh, I've got a nice list here I'll share with you coming up, just to be Chicago-centric, of what the illegals have done to us. So if Mexico wants to talk about that, let's talk about that. And let's talk about what they owe us for what they've done to us. And while we're at it, why don't we stop the remittances? Do you know there are the 3 top contributors to the GDP of Mexico are, I don't know the exact order, but one is oil, one is vacationers, tourism, that's us. Clearly it's folks from U.S., and the other one is remittances from the United States, the illegals sending remittances back to Mexico. You want to play? Let's freaking play. I want my reparations. We'll get into that coming up next, along with the latest on the anti-ICE activists going nuts, and they're upset that Trump and the ICE folks are under the radar, but getting a lot of arrests lately in Chicagoland, which I'm very happy to see. All that's coming up next. It's Chris Crock, for Dan Proft, AM 560 The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560 The Answer.
I'm excited about it. These cutting edge things that are new in medicine now, I'm all in on it. I'm all in on QC Kinetics. It works.
Henry Hinton decided to check out QC Kinetics regenerative treatments for his aching knees after seeing a close friend have amazing results without going under the knife.
I have a friend that started this, which is one of the reasons that I decided to do it. He could not play golf anymore, and he went to QC Kinetics and started having the treatments, and he's back golfing like 3 days a week. He couldn't play at all.
QC Kinetics gets you back to doing what you love, using your own natural biologics to help heal and restore damaged joints. Long-term relief that puts a guy back on the golf course.
I've had one treatment so far, and I can already tell a difference. QC Kinetics works. I'm excited about it.
You're next. Start with a call to QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-827-6261. That's 312-827-6261. 312-827-6261.
If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Last year, Mitch, 50, railroad worker, income 100 G's a year, score 630, called to consolidate his debt with a cash-out refinance. Team Hochberg loan officer Johnny Hendrickson helped Mitch pay off his debt and save $800 a month. Johnny called Mitch for a 6-month post-closing checkup and informed him his credit score was now over 700. Then Johnny helped Mitch lower his rate, remove the PMI, and save him another $400 a month while covering all his closing costs. Let's review. Team Hochberg loan officer Johnny Hendrickson helped Mitch eliminate his debt, save $1,200 a month, and improve his scores over 100 points. Team Hochberg's helped thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit that website you know you love, 56david.com. Atlantic Coast Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 643114.
Advantage Gold, America's #1 precious metals company, is sounding the alarm that a storm is coming and that now is the time to diversify your portfolio before it's too late. That's why we're offering an emergency gold and silver protection kit valued at $49, absolutely free for anyone who calls today at 800-900-8000. This kit includes critical information for investors with a retirement account seeking to own physical gold and silver, but want to do it tax and penalty free. Advantage Gold has helped investors protect and secure their wealth with with physical gold and silver since 2014. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 and we'll rush your emergency gold and silver kit plus a free copy of Ken Rogoff's book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. See how gold and silver can help you protect and secure your wealth with the help of Advantage Gold. Results vary. Consult your tax advisor before investing. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
Most Americans think of Abraham Lincoln and they think of the Civil War or the Emancipation. But in 1862, he signed another hugely significant piece of legislation, the Homestead Act. It offered eligible Americans up to 160 acres of land, not as a prize for the powerful, but as an opportunity for ordinary families willing to live on it, work it, and build something lasting. Why did it matter? Because Lincoln understood that freedom was not merely the absence of tyranny. Rather, freedom required responsibility, labor, stewardship, and moral courage. A free people must be given room to build, but they also must be willing to cultivate what they have been given. That still matters today. Liberty without responsibility decays. Opportunity without character collapses. Lincoln's lesson is clear. A nation stays free when its people remain willing to work, build, and steward freedom under God.
AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crocken for Dan Proft. Coming up in just a few minutes, the CEO of Aegis Longevity, former NFL tight end for the Tennessee Titans and USA rower Jimmy St. Louis, about what he and the folks at Agentis Longevity are doing for our veterans. That'll be good stuff. I wanted to hit a little bit more on this first, though. Okay, so Mexico is now demanding, they're preparing for legal battle. They're going for criminal charges and criminal complaints. They're planning to file criminal complaints against those responsible for 17 illegals dying from Mexican descent. If it's so bad here, why do you keep coming here? Why are you letting your people come here? Why are you accepting the filthy, dirty money that they're sending from the United States of America? We're so evil. Oh, I get it. You want to suck off us and leech off us like vampires, but then also hold us criminally responsible for deaths for your illegals that are either dying naturally of causes in custody of ICE or going to ram an ICE officer maybe, huh? So if they're going to file charges or attempt to file charges and file complaints, then I demand reparations. I demand reparations for every Mexican illegal who's violated us, killed us, maimed us. For example, look at these illegals here. From different parts of the world, but you have, just an example of some of the Chicago folks, Giovanni Mercedes Moreno Ochipini, Tren de Aragua mass shooting, killed 3 people. That's Venezuela, but nonetheless, Jose Medina killing Sheridan Gorman. It goes on and on and on. A lot of these people are from Venezuela, some from Guatemala. Here we go. Here's an illegal. Luis Mendoza Gonzalez, as we all know, hid the body of 37-year-old Megan Booz on his property. I want reparations for what he did to her. I mean, there's countless Mexican illegals who have killed us, violated us, etc. I want to get more in depth into this coming up in just a few minutes. But first, we are going to hit the news, and then when we come back, we'll talk to Jimmy St. Louis, CEO of Agentis Longevity, former NFL tight end and Tennessee Titans USA roar. Right now, let's go to the news. Mike Scott.
Chris, good morning. QC Kinetics newsroom time at 6:32. Chicago City Council Committee today will take the city one step closer to a new parking meter deal. City's Finance Committee is expected to vote today on the owner transfer of Chicago's parking meters. Former Inspector General Joe Ferguson.
From the perspective of drivers, parkers, visitors to the city, nothing's really going to change. The rates and the rate increase capacities are built into the contract. The contract, those terms can't be negated. They can't be disregarded.
City's Finance Committee is expected to vote today on the owner transfer of those $3.2 billion worth of parking meters. Stone Peak is seeking to buy the meters from the current company, and aldermen are seeking some type of multi-million-dollar concession from Stone Peak. A high-profile Chicago priest faces new sex abuse allegations. Father Michael Pfleger has been removed from ministry at St. Sabina Church. The Archdiocese is investigating the latest sex abuse accusations, and members of the parish are backing Father Pfleger once again.
I haven't changed anything about him. I think everything's really false. My thing is, why wait all this time?
The Archdiocese says it is the fifth person to accuse the Southside pastor of sexual abuse. Pfleger was cleared of all of those other charges. Tensions continue to rise between the U.S. and Iran as a new wave of attacks takes place. Fox's Marianne Rafferty has more detail.
Iran quickly retaliated, targeting U.S. military facilities. Tehran claims it struck bases in Jordan, Kuwait, and Bahrain, along with 2 more ships in the Strait. The U.S. has not confirmed these alleged attacks. Fighting right now focuses on the Strait of Hormuz, with Iran claiming control and the U.S. saying it's open.
Senator Tim Scott says America has lost a statesman after the death of Lindsey Graham. Scott mourned the loss of his fellow South Carolina Republican on CNN.
It is a morning of mourning for me. It's a powerful reminder that life is fleeting, that we are not here very long.
Emergency personnel responded to a call for a cardiac arrest at Graham's Capitol Hill residence on Saturday night. Republicans are heeding President Trump's demand to pass a bill banning so-called birth tourism. House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer.
When people from other countries come in illegally and utilize the benefits of free health care, which is what Medicaid is, then that makes health care more expensive for the rest of us.
The move comes after the Supreme Court rejected Trump administration plans and orders banning birthright citizenship. Chicago sports. Cubs heading to the All-Star break after an 8-4 win over the Reds. First-place White Sox sweep their home series with the A's after a 9-1 win. NBA Summer League continues from Las Vegas tonight as the Bulls take on the Jazz. The news is a service of Aleve. At some point, body pain may creep in and become your reality that day. But Aleve is here to keep you moving. One pill gives you up to 12 hours of body pain relief. Try Aleve today. Use as directed. A check on the roads coming your way in 2 minutes on AM 560.
Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by Class A Insurance, owned by Thomas Iacenta.
Hey, business owners, is your business and money in good hands? Does your bank invest in your success? Hi, Mike Gallagher here, letting you know that when you need a relationship bank, Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. I love these guys. Not only do they have expansive industry experience, a strong financial track record, but they're also highly capitalized for strategic growth. That's so important. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. They know what it means to grow a business by designing solutions that are right for you and only you. These are real people. They're ready to help. So reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Make the call today, 773-467-5630, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Your business could be Signature Bank's next success story. Go online, signaturebank.bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Signature Bank.
On Salem News Channel, principled voices are shaping today's conversation. Scott Jennings brings clarity to the toughest debates. Josh Hammer's blistering commentary puts politics and culture on trial. And Alex Marlowe's insight connects us to what matters most. Watch anytime on Samsung TV Plus, Pluto TV, or find us on your screen at snc.tv. 3 new shows, 1 powerful lineup. Salem News Channel, across America.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
6:39, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Stop and go traffic on the Stevenson, Harlem to Kedzie, Ashland into the Dan Ryan. Stop and go traffic already this morning. DuSable Lakeshore Drive northbound between Bryn Mawr and Hollywood. Tri-State jamming up southbound on the off-ramp to the big airport, I-190, and delays in Countryside this morning. Probably all stacked up at that Chick-fil-A, 55th and LaGrange Road. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, and up next, the latest forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center. Hot, plenty of sun. Just in time for another heat wave at the beginning of this week, high 94.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Kroc and for Dan Proft. You can follow me on Instagram, X, Facebook, at Chris Kroc Show. That's at Chris Kroc Show, ChrisKrok. Podcast there as well as YouTube and Rumble at Kroc Talk, KROKTALK. Our veterans, I had the real distinct pleasure of, I'm a Chicago guy that transplanted to Dallas-Fort Worth, and I had the distinct privilege of getting to know Chris Kyle and have him on my show fairly regularly before he was killed. And I learned a lot through his organization and through one of his good friends who ran the organization, who I became very close with. And you don't know what people have gone through. A lot of times you can't see the wounds that our heroes come home with. The young man I'm thinking about that ran Chris's charity, who I became close with, 27 years of age, had come back with deaf in one ear, definitely with some post-traumatic stress disorder. He had a stick or a unit of about maybe 9-10 people, and about 4 or 5 of them were killed. They serve, they give us their minds, their bodies, and they come home with wounds that many of us don't see. There's a Congressional Veterans Care Forum that's coming up in a day or so in D.C., and I wanted to talk to Jimmy St. Louis. He's the CEO of Agentis Longevity, former NFL tight end for the Tennessee Titans and USA Roar. He's going to be at this Congressional Veterans Care Forum. Jimmy, thanks for joining us on 560 The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. How are you, sir?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me, and thanks for that wonderful introduction.
Yeah, thank you. So there's a lot of stuff you guys are doing. First of all, what's going on with this Congressional Veterans Care Forum? What are you guys going to be doing? When's it going to be? And can we follow it?
Sure, yes. Yeah, you can follow it. It'll be in the Cannon Building up in D.C., the House of Representatives building, and it's actually going to be on Wednesday, the 15th, 8 to 9 a.m.
Got it.
About 75 attendees, and yeah, it should be highly informative, and our goal there is to not just spread the word, but to really create some action items that work to help these veterans.
One of the things I didn't know is when they come back, extreme stress can really mess with their hormones and some other things. What is it that you guys have been able to do and been at the forefront of doing with helping our veterans and treating them when they come back? And how do they have issues with hormones after being in combat?
Well, it's when you think about your hormones, there's so much can affect it. It can be environmental issues. It can be stress. It, of course, can be diet related. So I'm not sure that people really realize that your hormones are affected by so many things that you're possibly exposed to. And you think about our veterans, and they're deployed and they're in these stress-ridden environments where the stakes are at the absolute highest level. And then they also come back and there's this environmental shift where the stress was at the highest level, and now they're just thrown into this totally different world. And oftentimes when those things happen, you see their hormones just deplete. And I'm talking about things like free testosterone levels. Their estradiol levels are working hard to offset this crazy fluctuation in testosterone. And then there's just a direct correlation of that to mental health, which of course is directly correlated to a problem that I know the VA is looking to try to solve, which is just these soldiers who give their lives and come back and oftentimes make the decision to take their own lives.
Now, you guys have the Core Medical Foundation for Hormone Therapy, hormone optimization, peptide therapy, and a lot of this stuff is not accessible through the VA. Why is that? And by the way, what is peptide therapy?
Sure. So peptide therapy are actually just a peptide is just a combination of what they call 50 or less amino acids. You ever heard of amino acids? Those are a combination of amino acids creates proteins, and these peptides can be utilized for different things, for recovery, for muscle building, for bone density, for cognition. And that's actually a large portion of the hearing that's coming up on July 23rd and 24th, as well as about regulations around good compounding and good medicine in the peptide arena. So because of that, we're working to create awareness around that with this Congressional Veterans Forum that's coming up.
And also, you have people with PTSD, TBI, traumatic brain injuries. These things, the same therapies you're talking about, can help with those too, with traumatic brain injury?
That's right. So if you think about, let's talk more about PTSD and stress. And so the early indicators of PTSD are when your hormone levels are out of whack. It causes these symptoms of anxiety, which can lead to depression, which of course PTSD is a form of depression. And then, of course, when depression onsets aggressively, of course, there's sometimes people make the unfortunate decision to take their life. Or
let me add that real fast. There are 22 people in our service services that serve us. 22 a day take their lives is the average. And as you know, my friend I mentioned who ran Chris Kyle's charity, one of his best friends was a San Antonio police officer who took his life in his own squad car one night. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, so tell me more. Tell me more about this. I wanted to really, people need to know what serious stuff is going on out there. Yeah.
Sure, man. I'm sorry that you went through that as well. And unfortunately, as you said, 22 a day, so many more of us are experiencing that with our loved ones. And yeah, so there's actually a direct correlation of your hormones being in balance and to those individuals that did choose to take their lives. Nearly 3/4 of those individuals who made that unfortunate decision, their testosterone levels were so depleted that they were considered chronically ill. And when your testosterone levels are depleted like that, of course, again, it just leads to those symptoms, and you just feel like you just can't get out of it. And so Sidney Gordon launched this organization called the Core Medical Foundation, specifically intended to help those individuals who may not have the means. And of course, it's currently not available in an updated manner at the VA, which is largely what we're working on with this forum, is to educate, work directly with the VA, and work to bring more innovative advancements in these medicine to the VA to give our veterans access to it. Now,
Jimmy St. Louis, you are a former NFL tight end for the Tennessee Titans and USA Roar. How did you go from that to being the CEO of Agentis Longevity?
Well, thank you for asking. So just a bit of a combination of the two worlds. So the football career and the rowing career were actually about 10 years apart. And so following football, always just...
So you weren't playing football while you were rowing at the same time?
That's right. I was actually playing football, and then I found the sport of rowing about a decade later.
Okay. So, yeah. So how did you... Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So after football, I chose to embark on my healthcare entrepreneurial journey, and I come from a family of physicians and nurses, and just have always just had this internal desire to help people meet unmet needs through innovative healthcare solutions. And we launched a couple of organizations and had some success with it. But being a competitive athlete, I just wanted to continue to compete, and I actually just stumbled into the sport of rowing and became enamored by it. The beauty is what I learned there in that sport was how to rest, recover, and repeat. And it really just made me very, very passionate about this field of longevity, where these different forms of care and ways to rest, recover, and repeat are synonymous with the world of longevity. And those two worlds of high-performance sports optimization and my desire to help people meet unmet needs just created this great equation to launch Agentis.
Jimmy St. Louis, man, I appreciate your time today. CEO of Agentis Longevity, former NFL tight end, Tennessee Titans, USA rower, and, of course, the CEO and founder of Agentis Longevity. Jimmy, I hope the panel goes very well. You're moderating, of course, in D.C., Congressional Veterans Care Forum. Appreciate you very much for joining us on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So we have Mexico wants to file criminal charges for complaints against the people who are killed by trying to run over police officers, or I should say ICE officers being shot, people dying within the custody of ICE. They're citing in ABC 7 in their coverage of this, quote, Mexican officials prepare for legal battle over deaths of citizens, not U.S. citizens, Mexican citizens during U.S. immigration enforcement. So they want criminal charges and they want to file civil suits as well, which is, it is, let me get this straight. You invade our country. You feast on us like vampires. You siphon our money away into your country as one of the top 3 contributors to your entire GDP. You have a population that commits drunken driving and murders our citizens. You have a population of the illegal population from Mexico that comes in and rapes our citizens, or molests our children, or murders our people, or provides them the environment to get drug and overdose, and then put their body inside of a canister with acid and leave it there and sit there until we bust your butt for doing vile things like that to our people. And you want to collect from us. You want to come after us. Well, how about this? How about you tell your Mexican citizens that are here to get out of this country? If we're so bad, tell your people to get out of this country. How about you tell your people that are here illegally, who have no business in this country, how about you tell them when the cop puts a gun on them and says, pull your damn car over, they don't hit the accelerator button, the accelerator pedal, and speed at the officer, hit a car, and then go towards the cop and get shot. Because they're talking about Houston. They're talking about the illegal Mexican who refused law enforcement commands and drove his car at officers in Houston. And Channel 7 says, we obtained a body camera obtained by the I-Team, a federal agent. Oh, they're talking about the other one, too, the Mexican illegal in Chicago. Excuse me. Silverio Villegas Gonzalez. This is the one of the 17 deaths that Mexico wants to pursue criminal charges for. This is the one, as you recall, he refused law enforcement commands, drove his car at officers. Fearing for his own life, the officer fired his weapon. But then Channel 7 says, in the body cam video obtained by the I-Team, the federal agent who fired his weapon said his own injuries were nothing major. Hey, Channel 7, just because the officer, after firing the weapon and killing this Mexican illegal, just because he said his injuries were nothing major doesn't mean he didn't fear for his life. When he shoots the guy to stop the threat in the car driving at him, he fears for his life. He fears imminent great bodily injury or death. He shoots. He stops the threat. Afterwards, he didn't get hurt as bad as it may have looked. Quote, oh, my injuries are nothing major. Yes, but you know why they're nothing major? Because he shot the freaking guy that was going to run him over. Well, the I-Team obtained exclusive body cam footage. Yeah? And? They're also talking about what happened in Houston, which is the case I was referring to at the beginning here. This illegal in Houston, Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, ICE was looking for 2 white vehicles. They were target vehicles. This guy had a similar-looking vehicle in the same area. They pulled him over, and instead of pulling over and working with ICE and saying, what do you need, what do you want, he rammed his car into an ICE vehicle in Houston, refusing commands to stop before he was shot. And then ICE says he wasn't the target. Well, it doesn't matter if you're the target or not. If you go and you ram at the cop, you're going to get shot and killed. I want to kind of dovetail this with what's going on. You see the pro-illegal folks in Chicagoland freaking out because ICE is arresting a lot more people. They're doing it quietly. You're seeing the Democrats of the state of Illinois in Chicagoland outraged that illegals are being arrested in Cook County courthouse buildings because there's supposed to be a law that stops ICE from arresting people or Border Patrol from arresting illegals in courthouses or around courthouses. I love this. I want to hit on those coming up next, along with the Haitians and Syrians and temporary protective status. All that's next. Chris Kroc in for Dan Proft. This is AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is The Morning Show. More Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, AM 560 listeners, Jeff checking in again from JeffBuysYourHouse.com. What I learned serving our great nation in the military is that every mission is unique and success starts with listening. For nearly 20 years, our veteran-led house buying team has taken the time to understand what matters most to each homeowner we serve. Every home has a story, and every seller has different needs. Whether you want a quick closing or need extra time to find your next place, we customize our approach around what works best for you. That's how we've earned hundreds of 5-star Google reviews and an A+ rating with the BBB, by putting relationships first. No repairs needed, no cleanout required, and you pick the closing date that works best for your schedule. At JeffBuysYourHouse.com, we're here to help you through the entire transition, not just the transaction. Are you ready to work with a local team that takes the time to understand your home selling needs? Sell your house to the trusted source by calling us today at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or JeffBuysYourHouse.com.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
Each morning, the newsmakers and the newsbreakers shaping today's conversation are heard on the AlphaWealthGroup.com answer line on Chicago's Morning Answer. When you need answers about what's happening in your world, you turn to AM 560 The Answer. And when you need answers about how to prepare for and protect your retirement, you turn to the Alpha Wealth Group, now the proud sponsor of the AM 560 Answer line, right here on Chicago's source for news, opinion, and insight. AM 560 The Answer.
The following contains a celebrity impersonation.
Mr. President, we're seeing reporting that air conditioning systems are failing as temperatures rise. What is your response?
I said, don't wait. People wait until the last second, then suddenly it's hot and nothing works. I understand this stuff probably better than anybody.
Mr. President, why hasn't the White House issued any guidance?
I gave perfect guidance. Call Air Right Heating and Cooling. That's the guidance. If people followed it, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Sir, but homeowners have so many HVAC options.
They're not like Air Right. You got some bad installers out there, some real bad hombres. I wouldn't let them near the White House. It would be a complete disaster.
Mr. President, there are reports of significant rebates on new systems. Can you confirm?
I've heard about them. A lot of people talking about them. If you miss out, you'd have to be really not so smart. Tremendous savings, let me tell you.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling at AIR-RITE.com. Air Right. Doing it right since 1959.
If you're over 65 and struggling with knee pain, Joint Relief Institute offers a guaranteed way to treat it. It's non-surgical and often covered by Medicare and private insurance. It's JRI's Joint Arthritis Treatment, knee lubrication placement that's so accurate it's 100% guaranteed and can relieve your knee and shoulder pain in 10 minutes or less. Book your risk-free consultation today and get back to walking, golfing, pickleball to cycling without pain or medication. Call 708-315-6800. Meet the provider, get an x-ray and joint consultation consultation. Why wait? JRI has treated over 30,000 Chicagoans and performed over 400,000 procedures. You could be next. Over 5,000 5-star Google reviews can't be wrong.
Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800 for the Joint Relief Institute. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted.
AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crockett for Dan Proft. Stephen Bucci on the latest with Iran, Ukraine, and so much more, and what Lindsey Graham's passing might mean for the odds in both of those in the direction they'll go. But also, what should we be doing in Iran that we're not doing right now, or more of? The illegals, I want to get more into this in the next hour. But basically, there's been 20 arrests and 17 arrests over the past 2 weeks, respectively. ICE is ramping up, but they're not advertising it like they used to do with Operation Midway Blitz, which was not a good decision. Just get them, and they're doing it, and people are panicking. Plus, the leftist Democrats are outraged that the sheriff isn't stopping people like ICE going into the courthouses and arresting folks. I love that one. It's AM 560, The Answer, WIND, Chicago.
Iran continues to claim it controls the Strait of Hormuz. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, but the U.S. military says no.
Claiming that Iran is not going to have any control over this vital waterway. Overnight, U.S. Central Command released new video of their latest targets, which shows air defense systems, coastal radar sites, missile and drone capabilities.
Fox's Mark Meredith also reports from the White House.
Iran continues to carry out its own attacks on U.S. resources in the Middle East, including in Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Jordan, and Oman. The targets appear to be American ammunition depots and radar stations.
Now, this is the day after Iran attacked another ship in the Strait. The head of the UN warns a return to full-scale hostilities would be catastrophic. Oil prices are up more than 3% this morning. President Trump expected to talk about the conflict this hour on Fox and Friends on TV. The president will also pay tribute to late Senator Lindsey Graham. And it's not just Republicans praising the 71-year-old who died suddenly Saturday night in Washington. Democrats are too. Senator Peter Welch tells Fox.
Who else took on the challenge of trying to protect Ukraine? Who else took on trying to get a bipartisan, good, secure border immigration bill? He was such a doer.
As for the cause of death, Fox's Jonathan Seri in Graham's hometown, Central South Carolina, reports.
The medical examiner is waiting on some additional test results before determining the official cause of death, but the preliminary examination findings were aortic dissection due to arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease. This is commonly referred to as hardening of the arteries.
Graham was running for re-election, so next month there will be a special primary to find the new Republican Senate nominee. As for the rest of Graham's current term, Governor Henry McMaster will appoint a replacement. An actor is also being mourned. Sam Neill is best known for his role in the Jurassic Park movies. He was in dozens of films and TV shows. He died at the age of 78. America's listening to Fox News. 71 degrees, mostly sunny skies. At 7:02 in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. We'll head toward a high of 94 today. A high-profile Chicago priest faces new sex abuse allegations. Father Michael Pfleger has been removed from his ministry at St. Sabina Church. The Archdiocese of Chicago is investigating the latest accusation from a woman who apparently went to school at St. Sabina, and that woman claims Pfleger sexually abused her between 1993 and 1995.
I haven't changed anything about him. I think everything's really false. My thing is, why wait all this time?
Pfleger denies the accusation and, as you heard, has the support of parish members at St. Sabina. The FAA will extend a limit on the number of flights at O'Hare into next year. Daily flights have been limited to just over 2,700 since May. That reduction, helping reduce delays at O'Hare, will now be extended through October of 2027. 7 were shot in an East St. Louis mass shooting Sunday morning. 5 of the 7 are dead. All of the victims related.
Progress we have made will not be lost as a result of this terrible, terrible acts of violence that have occurred in this community today. So this is the City of Champions.
Illinois State Police saying 2 teens, 15 and a 16-year-old, are in custody. The Illinois House will convene a special investigative committee after 11 House Republicans filed paperwork on Friday. Speaker Chris Welch announcing the committee to investigate Representative Carol Ammons, a Democrat from Champaign, and her husband, Aaron, the Champaign County Clerk, after a federal grand jury indicted the Ammons family last week on charges. Welch saying Ammons is entitled to due process.
We have processes in place that if they are invoked, we will use those processes.
House Minority Leader Tony McCombie says Welch is a hypocrite for not invoking an investigation earlier.
When Representative Louis Arroyo was federally charged, Speaker Welch supported immediate House action, yet when it came time for former Speaker Madigan, he opposed and delayed action.
McCombie appointing Deputy Minority Leader Ryan Spain as spokesman, along with Assistant Minority Leader Dan Ugaste and Representative Adam Nieberg to that committee. Chicago sports. First place White Sox swept out the A's with a 9-1 win Sunday, and heading into the All-Star break, the Cubs winners again, 8-4 over the Reds. The news, a service of the AM 560 store. You can go to 560theanswer.com/store. A check of the roads in 2 minutes on AM 560.
Larry Elder says the facts don't lie.
It's been studied, and conservatives are far more generous with their time, with their money than are liberals. It isn't even close, primarily because conservatives are more religious. Religious people give far more money and donate far more time than do non-religious people. Religious Democrats, by the way, give just as much as do conservatives. There's just far fewer religious Democrats, so it's not even close.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your saving? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, it's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Text SHELTER to 989898.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
7:07 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. An accident tying up things outbound on the Bishop Ford between 130th and the Steel Bridge. The accident in the cleanup stages and should shortly be swept out of your way. Stevenson inbound. Harlem to Kedzie, you've got delays and you're on the brakes. Ashland into the Dan Ryan. Stop and go traffic on Lakeshore Drive northbound between Roosevelt and Monroe. Traffic, a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency. You can go to surroundchicago.com today. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, and the latest forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today, expect sunny skies with a high of 94. Tonight will be clear and warm with a low of 74. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny and very hot, reaching a high of 96. Wednesday will also be mostly sunny and hot with a high of 96. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crock in for Dan Proft. Some breaking news before we go to Steve Bucci on the latest with Iran, Ukraine, etc. From Lindsey Graham, this just coming in from Axios. A person who spoke with Graham shortly after he had an issue with his health complained that he was feeling unwell. When the person urged him to seek medical attention immediately, Graham said he would do so Sunday morning after his scheduled appearance on NBC's Meet the Press. Graham joked, quote, "I can't die now. I still need to do the Russian sanctions, get Iran sorted out, and do the Israeli-Saudi normalization." He passed away several hours later. Tough stuff. Stephen Bucci joining us on of course, the Alpha Wealth Group call and text line. Stephen, of course, you have a great history in defending our nation, serving our nation. Wanted to ask you, let me give a good introduction on you, though, first. You served for America for 3 decades. As an Army Special Forces officer, top Pentagon official, visiting fellow with the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen Bucci, thank you for joining us on Chicago's Morning Answer, as always.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show. But as you're alluding to, it's kind of a sad day.
Yeah. Tell me this, before we get into some of the nitty-gritty, what effect did Lindsey Graham have on what we're seeing in the war with Iran and with Ukraine and Russia?
Well, I don't know how he affected the policy specifically. I don't know what conversations he had with the president or any of the other senior folks, but his presence and his very consistent support of, defending our friends and allies around the world and standing strongly against our adversaries is going to be his legacy. I mean, he was pretty consistent with that. Some people will say, well, but he disagreed with President Trump here, then he agreed with him there. Okay, people's positions change. They do that, but the foundation of the policies that he advocated for in his leadership in the Senate were pretty steady, and they were support our friends in every way and stand up to our adversaries in every way. And if we do that, America will see our interests protected and our people protected. And, that's something some of our leadership in Washington, sometimes they forget that's what they were hired to do, hired by being voted in. I don't think Lindsey Graham ever forgot that.
Stephen, I want to shift gears to strictly look at what's going on with Iran. I have said since day one, when Trump said we're going to do a memorandum of understanding, we got a deal. Wait, there's not a deal. Wait, now there's a deal. Oh, they're breaking the deal. Now we're going to attack them. Oh, they're dying to make a deal. First of all, I get so angry because there is no deal. There never will be a deal. They're terrorists. You don't make deals with terrorists because they're terrorists. Is that a fair way to look at things? I think it's ridiculous to say there's a deal with these terrorists.
Yeah, I admire the president for wanting to do it that way. I mean, he'd rather come up with a deal than destroy all the infrastructure of Iran, because there's always the hope that the people of Iran, who have been essentially prisoners for 47 years, are going to hopefully in the short term get control of that stuff again. And we don't want to have to rebuild it all. But on the other hand, I'm with you. That the government in Iran right now is not and will never be a good faith negotiating partner in the way any other government in the world might be. They're liars. They lie by theological doctrine to people like us who they consider infidels, or even other Muslims that are not following exactly the 12er Shia theology, which is a very small and extreme sect of Shia Islam. It's a waste of time to negotiate with them. And I think they've proven that over the last 47 years. And since this whole thing started, they've proved it. They'll say, oh, yeah, we want a deal. And then later that day, they're violating the deal and saying, oh, well, that's because we didn't really like the things that you offered us. Well, but you said yes to them. It doesn't matter to them.
Right.
So why should we bother? Just remove the carrot, use the stick, and change the game. It's not going to happen by negotiation. Good try, Mr. President, but I think we need to go back to the stick. That's the only way we're really going to get there.
Do you think he's finally realizing that? And if so, what does he need to do? Because for me, when he was saying a month or so ago, and by the way, we never should have had a ceasefire, because we would have had this crap done 2-3 months ago if we would have kept going and going and going. And then we were on the precipice of taking Carg Island, and then Trump says, oh, now they're gonna make a deal. And I was so PO'd the next day when he said that. What do you think is going to happen, and what should happen next? Because I want us to take out. We're attacking the littoral areas, if you will, the areas along the Strait of Hormuz, along Iran, where they've got all these garrisons or missile silos or boats, and they're attacking us still. What is this mysterious thing that we can't stop them from doing? I know we might have risk, but I say take Carg Island, hold it, and take out all that crap in the Strait, and then stranglehold them with the oil. What do you say?
I have said for a while now, everything that leaves the coastline of Iran, either on the surface or in the air, needs to immediately be destroyed. No questions asked. No, well, what kind of boat is it? If it leaves, sink it. If it flies, drop it on the ground and kill it. Then continue what they're doing, hitting the known missile sites, the known production sites. Anything having to do with the IRGC should be taken out. I don't care if it's a one-man guard post. If it belongs to the IRGC, slam it and remove it. They are the true believers, even within the government of true believers, and they need to be eliminated. They will not change and will not stop. Going beyond that, if we're going to put any troops on the ground, and that nobody likes that option because it's dangerous and it smells of entanglement.
Right.
But Carg Island is a restricted area. It's not the mainland of Iran. It's a separate island. I think we could take that, completely cripple their oil distribution system, and not have to destroy it, but remove it from their control and use our air power to protect whoever we put on that island. And I think we could do that with relative safety. Dig them in, keep people in the air constantly to protect them, and then we might have to go in and do some of these dual-use infrastructure targets, some of the bridges, some of the industrial base that is not going to be honest with you, the dissident Iranians that I have had contact with and I've read about, they're okay with that. The ones inside the country aren't going, oh, no, don't blow up that bridge.
Right.
Because I might have to walk across it. They'll walk down and go over the other bridge.
Yes.
But stop the regime's ability to control the population and the oil. And when that happens, I think we will see the people stand up finally, because they'll not only feel supported and empowered, but the regime will be degraded enough that they can do it and be successful.
I've spent some time, several hours, talking to a couple different CIA folk whose expertise, they're both retired, but their expertise is Iran and the nuclear program and such. And basically they said there should have been a plan before we did this. There was no plan, and that's why we can't arm them inside of Iran. I don't know if that's accurate, but also Trump was given the intelligence, and it was like from Israel saying you can take them out right now, and it was accurate, and we did it. So we had an opportunity. So on that front, as far as you're looking at all this, how could we get the people armed? I mean, is there any way? Is it too late because we don't have a plan, or can we drop crates into just randomly throughout Iran and in the populated areas so some of the good guys can get them?
It's a little more difficult than just throwing rifles out, and because you got to make sure that people know how to use the rifles before you give it to them.
Give them instructions, point and click.
Look, the Iranian people have been without any sort of that capability for 47 years. It was stripped from them. They removed all of the weapons from the people. Gee, we've heard that before.
Yeah, it's happening in Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. But it is doable, and I can tell you from when this thing started, our Special Operations Forces, the CIA Ground Branch, which is a much smaller component, most of whom are former military special operators, if they didn't have a plan before this started, they've been doing the planning since then. And there is, I cannot think that there is not some plans that came off the shelf, have been reinvigorated, injected with the intel we've gotten from the Israelis to be ready to do that. And we can work with the Israelis who do have people on the ground.
Right, yes.
I think we could probably do that. Is that dicey and more risk? Yeah, because you're going to put some of our good guys on the ground with these people. But is it worth it? If you ask the special operators, they'd say, this is kind of what we're trained and, this is our mandate for the country is to do that kind of mission. Those are the guys I led for my entire, Army career. And now we have more of those because we have people, the SEALs can also do it. The Marine Corps Raiders can do it. We have the special operations capability to go in there and help these people develop the capability to rise up against their oppressors. And I think it's time we should do that.
So, I mean, at this point, to put a bow on this, at this point, the midterms are close anyways. This is a disaster to try to negotiate anymore. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's beclowning ourselves. It's embarrassing. And finish the damn job is what I say. How likely do you think that is to happen? Obviously, you and I want the same thing. Finish the job, arm the people. It's going to be a clown show, difficult and all this kind of stuff, and bad stuff's going to happen, but that's kind of what needs to happen. How likely do you think that is to happen? I know the midterms are coming up. It's a political question per se, but I don't see what other option there is.
I don't think it's highly likely that we'll see people on the ground between now and the midterms.
Right.
It's possible. I think it is highly likely that we will see an uptick of the standoff kind of fight, the air and the missiles and that sort of thing, which hopefully will include upgrading the target list and the kind of things they're doing, similar to what we talked about a few minutes ago. But I don't think we'll see people on the ground before the midterms, but hopefully, we'll continue to develop the plans, get the people in position so that we can do it down the road. This is not something that just has to do with the midterms. This has to do with the overall security of the Middle East and security for America.
Right. Now, how serious was or is this threat against President Trump's life from Iran, as far as you're aware? We know that the Qatari gift of that $400 million Air Force One, the new one, was not used. The old one was used. I had heard there's something that the old one has that the new one doesn't, which is something like missile defense systems or something. What do you know about that, and how serious of a threat was this or is this right now? Is it a new, truly threat on his life as far as you would know, or is it just the same old stuff?
Look, the Iranians have shown a propensity and some skill at reaching out and touching leaders from other countries around the world. You know, they almost got the Saudi ambassador to the U.S. in Washington, D.C. a few years back. We stopped that. They're serious about trying to kill people and you know, anybody who they think is a bad guy. Now, they've wanted to kill President Trump and his Secretary Mike Pompeo since they got Soleimani. And they killed him the last time President Trump was in office. They're still trying to kill President Trump, and I have no doubt that there are agents trying desperately to win that prize for their country. I don't think they're going to be successful because we're pretty good at watching for that sort of thing. Now, that the individual nut job that pops up in our own citizenry, those are harder to stop. They don't have a whole bunch of infrastructure behind them that gives off a signal. That's one guy going, I'm just going to take my hunting rifle off the rack and go down and do this. You know, those are, you got to just watch for them and try and stop them before it happens. And one from out of the country, even with people that have been here a while, I can tell you, we're watching pretty much anybody of Iranian descent, even the ones that are dissidents, are still getting watched today because you don't know who's going to go back to the other side.
No. One more question for you, Stephen Bucci. The State Department nixed this New York City Mayor Mamdani top officials' plan to meet with an Iranian envoy, ambassador to the UN. Unbelievable. How big of a victory, how massive of a public relations victory would this have been for Iran if this would have happened?
Oh, it would have helped them tremendously in the world community. I don't think it would have helped them too much in their domestic situation. The people there hate them. The majority they're still going to hate them. But it's something that people need to understand. Mayors and governors are independent executive officers in our federated system, but they have no mandate to reach out to foreign governments other than for commercial purposes, particularly if we are in an adversarial relationship with those people. Mamdani can't freelance foreign policy. It's against the law.
I don't know why we're not prosecuting. I don't know why we're not prosecuting this lady.
I would, but that's not generally the way they deal with it because they don't want to obviate the will of the people who elected him. But they can shut down that kind of nonsense and keep it from happening in the future.
Stephen Bucci, serving America 3 decades, Army Special Forces officer, top Pentagon official, visiting fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen, thank you very much for your expertise and your time. You are absolutely an important person to be able to talk to on these matters. We appreciate your time.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, and have a great week.
You too, sir. Wow, huh? We're going to continue talking about Lindsey Graham passing away. That was pretty shocking to read in Axios that Graham was told to seek immediate medical attention, but said he would after his Meet the Press appearance. Sad. If he would have made that call, maybe he'd be alive today. We'll talk more about him and his legacy, his history, and everything we can find out about him with a guest from Charleston, South Carolina City Paper and the State House Report, editor and publisher Andy Brack at 8 o'clock. Up next, I want to hit back on the illegals. You got the Democrats and the pro-illegal people throughout Chicagoland are mad because ICE is stepping up arrests. They're mad because the stupid law that says Pritzker signed in saying you can't go into courthouses or around courthouses if you're ICE. That's the funniest thing in the world. So this is I'll explain how that's literally like a call for civil war. I'll explain that in a minute, and then I want to segue into our cops. I want to segue into the unbelievable amount WTTW Channel 11 says that Chicago taxpayers are spending this past year to resolve police misconduct lawsuits. I want to talk about the mayor answering to President Trump about how to stop violence in the city and the state of Illinois, but obviously it's about the city. And some more stuff. We have, oh gosh, how do we finally take a massive, classic Chicago, Cook County serial offender? How do we finally lock them up? They got to jump into the governor's backyard. So if you're the governor, you're safe. If it's you or me and this guy jumps in our backyard, we're screwed. All that coming up next. Chris Crockett for Dan Proft, AM 560 The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560 The Answer.
Your local State Farm agent Anthony DeGrotto combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. You can combine your home, auto, and life insurance to not only save you money, but give you the peace of mind you've been looking for. Anthony DeGrotto is your go-to agent in Chicagoland. He and his team will work for you to provide the best service you expect at the price you want. Combine your home, auto, and life insurance today. Anthony DeGrotto will help you mix and match things perfectly. His State Farm office is a top pick 2024 Daily Herald Reader's Choice Award winner. He's a proud supporter of Tunnel to Towers and like-minded as you. His State Farm agency is currently looking to add members at their Roselle office. Call Anthony at 847-895-1500 today or visit DeGrottoSF.com. That's DeGrottoSF.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again, not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family-owned with integrity since 1981.
Welcome back to Ask Hassellus.
This is the Sheriff's Office. We have a report of missing employees at Hassellus Mattress.
Yes, Hassellus Mattress showrooms are employee-free.
You're confessing?
That's how we keep our prices way low. And through Monday, trade in your old mattress and take $248 off a queen and $348 off a king.
Sounds suspicious.
Free next day delivery, too.
Dispatch, I need a police escort for a Hassellus Mattress delivery truck to my house.
Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hassellus.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
It's news, opinion, and insight at the speed of your life. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
A very busy QC Kinetics newsroom this morning. Hello, I'm Mike Scott. Hot and humid today, the beginning of another heat wave and a high of 94. And our top story this morning, a Chicago City Council committee is likely going to take the next step closer to a new parking meter deal. The Finance Committee is expected to vote today on the transfer of Chicago's parking meters. Former Inspector General Joe Ferguson.
From the perspective of drivers, parkers, visitors to the city, nothing's really going to change. The rates and the rate increase capacities are built into the contract. The contract, those terms can't be negated. They can't be disregarded.
You may recall that Mayor Brandon Johnson had bid as much as $3.2 billion to try and buy the parking meter system before abandoning that effort. Now, Stone Peak Partners is seeking to buy the city's meters from the current company, and aldermen are seeking to wring some type of concession today out of Stone Peak. And there is political news this morning. Politico is reporting that Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias is launching an extensive television advertising campaign as he seeks re-election, a move that also lands just a couple of weeks before candidates can actually begin circulating petitions for Chicago's February mayoral election. The timing is quite hard to miss, according to Politico. 2 new 30-second ad spots have dropped this morning. The Secretary of State continues to keep eyes on a very competitive mayoral race that current Mayor Brandon Johnson has yet to commit to. A high-profile Chicago priest faces new sex abuse allegations. Father Michael Pfleger has been removed from his ministry again at St. Sabina Church as the Archdiocese investigates the latest sex abuse accusation. Pfleger says it's from a woman who went to school at St. Sabina, claiming he sexually abused her between 1993 and 1995 when she was a minor. Right now, parishioners are backing Pfleger.
I haven't changed anything about him. I think everything's really false. My thing is, why wait all this time?
It is the 5th person to accuse the Southside pastor of sexual abuse. Tensions continue to rise between the U.S. and Iran after a new wave of attacks.
The U.S. and Iran trading new blows overnight. It started with the U.S. launching a 4th round of strikes across Iran Sunday. CENTCOM saying it hit dozens of targets, including air defense systems, coastal radar sites, drone capabilities, and small boats. The strikes are meant to continue degrading Tehran's ability to attack civilian ships in the vital Strait of Hormuz.
Fox's Marianne Rafferty and Senator Tim Scott says America has lost a true statesman after the death of Lindsey Graham.
It is a morning of mourning for me. It's a powerful reminder that life is fleeting, that we are not here very long.
Graham's office says he died Saturday at the age of 71 after a brief and sudden cardiac illness. Chicago sports. Cubs heading to the All-Star break after securing an 8-4 win over the Reds. First-place White Sox swept their 3-game home series over the A's following a 9-1 victory. The news, a service of Aleve. At some point, body pain may creep in and become your reality that day. But Aleve, well, they're here to keep you moving. One pill gives you 12 hours of body pain relief. Try Aleve today and use as directed. A check of the roads in 2 minutes on AM 560.
Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by LeavingIL.com and by Unique Wooden Flags.
What's with the ladder and bowling ball?
I'm testing the unsmushable Qualix Ultra Foam in Penny Mustard's Motion Sectional.
But our foam is already proven to stay supportive and comfortable for the life of the sofa.
Are you also dropping a St. Bernard on the sectional?
No, he's here to rescue me when I fall off the ladder.
The forever comfortable Motion Sectional, American made with a solid wood frame and hundreds of fabric and leather options, starting at just $62.95 at Penny Mustard.
7 Chicagoland showrooms.
PennyMustard.com.
Fight or flight? In Illinois, you've got both options. You can stay and fight, engage in local races, work to change things. Or you can vote with your feet. At LeavingIL.com, we help you build a smart exit plan so you know where to go, when to go, and how to do it right. Take our quick exit readiness assessment. Go to LeavingIL.com. That's LeavingIL.com. Or call 224-800-6979.
You know that feeling when you call your insurance company and you know that you're getting put into queue? Nobody wants to go through that. Specifically, Tommy and TJ Iaquinta with Class A Insurance. They're a father and son team built right here in Chicago's southwest suburbs on one idea: treat people like family. See, because they're independent, they're not stuck in pushing one company policy on you, one company rates on you. They shop the best carriers in the country, names you'd recognize, and find coverage that actually fits your life, your home, your car, even your boat and motorcycle. That's why they've been named one of the top 25 home insurance agencies in Chicago. 2 generations, 1 agency. And clients that stick with them for years. When something happens and claims happen, Tommy or TJ is the one who picks up the phone and walks you through the process themselves. If you're paying for a policy you don't understand from a company you never talked to, it's simple. Head to 560insurance.com. That's 560insurance.com. Get a free quote in minutes at 560insurance.com.
Progressive Insurance. Progressive can protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. In short, a lot of things. Bundle today at progressive.com.
7:39. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Solid traffic on I-55 northbound between Route 176 and Veterans Parkway. It's all due to an accident blocking a left-hand lane. And heavy and slow on I-80 due to an accident eastbound between LaGrange Road to past Oak Park Avenue, and heavy delays on the Kennedy outbound between Pulaski and the Edens Junction. Traffic is a service of Bank of America, sponsor of the FIFA World Cup 2026, dedicated to offering solutions to help businesses meet their goals locally and globally. More at bankofamerica.com/game changers. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Up next, the latest forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center. The start of another hot week, plenty of sunshine, and a high of 94.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman. Listen Saturday mornings at 8. Learn more at willsave.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crock and for Dan Proft. Well, the immigration arrests near county courthouses still persist despite a state law. You've got an illegal from Venezuela who was cuffed and stuff for pimp slapping somebody. Misdemeanor domestic battery. And she was in complete shock that after she showed up for her misdemeanor domestic battery at a Cook County courthouse, that within blocks after leaving, she would be stopped, cuffed, and stuffed, and her ass be deported to Venezuela, where she is now complaining that she can't get a good education in Spanish because she doesn't speak the English. She's mad that she can't come here illegally and get a free education. She doesn't understand. I thought if I show up at court for pimp slapping somebody, I won't get deported. Well, then you have this, quote, in June at a branch courthouse in Bridgeview. Chaotic scene unfolded. Immigration agents were inside of a suburban court building, struggling with a man on the ground while onlookers yelled, I love this, "Do you have a warrant? Where's your warrant? Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Go stuff it up your rump." This is what's so great about this lengthy story of the Tribune and another one from Channel 5. They talk about this. Lawmakers are now complaining to Cook County Sheriff Tom Dart. What are you doing? You're supposed to be arresting ICE. They can't come in the courtroom. They can't come around the courthouse. He has a letter that he sent to these Democrat state lawmakers. In spite of these laws, the Court Access, Safety, and Participation Act, in spite of these laws, video evidence depicts multiple officers in uniform. Oh, these are what the Democrats wrote to the sheriff. In spite of these new laws, video evidence shows multiple Cook County Sheriff's officers in uniform standing by and watching ICE flout our laws. They want Sheriff Dart to arrest ICE while they're arresting illegals. So what they want is what Victor Davis Hanson described as a civil war. What they want is an armed Cook County Sheriff's officer to pull out his weapon and order an armed ICE agent to surrender and put his hands behind his back, to which then the ICE officer will draw his weapon and say, you ain't taking me under custody, you get into custody for threatening the life, threatening a federal officer. So what the Democrats in Chicagoland want is they want a civil war. They want to pit and take their armed officers, law enforcement officers, and have them at war and arresting federal agents. And they're either stupid or they're ignoring the fact that the Supremacy Clause exists, and they know this. So you can take your pick. Are they stupid? Or are they pretending that the Supremacy Clause doesn't exist? So they want a civil war. And then I love this. The article says, now this illegal from Venezuela no longer faces any criminal charges in Cook County because she's been deported, where now she can't get her free education in Spanish. So there you go. Meantime, we have this. From Block Club Chicago. Should cities seek compensation for Midway Blitz? Voters will be asked to weigh in. So let me get this straight. You attack officers. You throw rocks at them, bottles at them. You chase them in your car. You hit their car. You lunge at them with your cars, and you attack them. And you want compensation for attacking ICE. Is that right? Yes. You and the illegal in Venezuela. She doesn't know why this has happened to her. You guys can go twiddle your thumbs. Temporary protective status for Haitians and Syrians extended for a week or two. Here is Congressman Mike Turner from Ohio, just dying to save the tens of thousands of Haitians in his state. Let's hear what he has to say.
Do you know what the plan is to deal with the Haitians who are having their temporary protected status revoked in Springfield, Ohio?
So as of Friday, there's been a short-term extension because of the
24th of July.
So 2 weeks. The Marjorie Mullen Secretary has said that those individuals who are working, that they should look to as a manner in which they might be able to be included in other processes because, they're contributing to society. Yeah. Certainly, our governor, Mike DeWine, and myself and others.
Yeah, they're contributing to society. They're stealing American jobs, and this is so important. We must keep them here to steal jobs. Americans don't want jobs. No, we want to give them to Haitians. By the way, Haitians Haiti was first designated temporary protective status in 2010 under the Hussein Obama administration after a devastating earthquake. 16 years after 16 years is temporary, guys. 16 years. Syria received temporary protective status 2 years later in 2012 following the start of a civil war, which ended 2 years ago. So let's see. I don't understand. Temporary, does that mean temporary? No. It means 20, 30, 40 years, apparently. No, I don't think so. Get out. Get out. It is unbelievable to see Ohio politicians grovel for Haitians who Joe Biden and Kamala Harris waved a magic wand so they can come in and steal our jobs. The good thing about this is we have their addresses, we have their biometrics, we have their employer information, and in fact, many of these people may have already had their employment potential taken away from them. And they need to go because there's no such thing as temporary protective status for 15, 20, 30 years. It's done. Get out. Period. Come back the lawful and legal way. Joe Biden's not president anymore. Blame him for bringing you here, and now you're getting out of here. There's the door. See you later. If you want to chime in, of course, 312-642-5600 is our number, 312-642-5600. Chicago taxpayers spent $259 million to resolve police misconduct lawsuits in 2025, City Analysis says, from WTTW Channel 11. Do you hear this? $259 million in 2025 to resolve police misconduct lawsuits. Channel 11 says that's more than 3 times what Chicago taxpayers paid to resolve police misconduct lawsuits in 2024. So from 2024 to 2025, threefold increase. We're now spending more than $250 million a year to settle police misconduct. Is that an indictment on the cops? No. It's an indictment on the city of Chicago and the older people, the mayor, and everybody that's in control of the city of Chicago. Because what they're doing is they're emboldening bad people to make bogus claims. They're emboldening bad people to tussle and fight with the cops so that they can file the next claim. They smell blood in the water like a shark, and they're going to keep filing and filing and filing. And the liberal Democrats that control the city are going to keep paying and paying and paying. It is a cash machine ATM. And I'm going to tell you something else. My father's retired Chicago police. I know some Chicago police officers. And I hear the stories. And it is unbelievable how many Chicago police officers, and you know this, but I know it personally, it's unbelievable how many Chicago police officers have left the department after 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, 15 years on the job. And I'm going to tell you something else that goes into alleged misconduct is when you lose your officers. Well, officers are at their most valuable to any department, to any city, after 5 years of service, because by 5 years, studies show they've gone through just about everything there is to go through. They have become veterans, and they have become very invaluable. The training and the experience is now invaluable. And you are losing so many, and I'm not telling you anything new, but you are losing so many CPD officers, college educated, 8 years experience, 10 years experience, 12 years experience, or it doesn't matter if they have a college degree or not, but many of these college-educated people, top-flight frickin' people, they're not going to abuse somebody, they're not going to hurt somebody, they're not going to kill somebody, they're not going to pull their weapon unless they have to, they're not going to fire that weapon unless they have to. And you're losing them all. You're losing them to suburbs all around Chicagoland. You know it and I know it. You're losing them to departments here in North Texas and Dallas-Fort Worth where I'm at. You're losing them to Florida. They're not getting crapped on. People don't want to go to jail for doing their job in the city of Chicago, and that is no longer it is a very distinct possibility, as you and I know. I'm reminded of a story of a police officer who, white guy walking down the streets, no shoes on, going door to door to door to door, trying to get into houses, broad daylight. People call the cops. Chicago cop shows up, says, "What are you doing here?" The guy's going to come into custody. He's going to put the cuffs on him, going to see who you are, run his info and all that stuff. The guy, as he's trying to get the cuffs on, turns away and says, "No, screw you." Walks away. Cop says, "Get back over here. I'm going to put the cuffs on you." "No." "Okay." Pulls out the taser. "Get on the ground or I'm going to tase you." "No." "Get on the ground, I'm going to tase you." Goes down, gets back up as he's going to arrest him. Gets back down, goes up. Finally gets tased, playing up and down, and he falls face first, nose to the ground on the concrete. White guy, mind you. White officer, white perpetrator. Gets his ocular socket broke, his nose broke, it looks bad, but there's no racial issue. And that officer is under investigation for a year, and at the end of the day of his job, in uniform, is arrested and charged with I believe, assault with a deadly weapon or something of that nature for doing his freaking job. Saw that on WGEN TV a couple years back or so. We are losing the best of the best, and we are keeping and recruiting the worst of the worst. And what that gets you is the same kind of crap you saw in Memphis with those 8 guys, all of them, I think, black, beating the crap out of that guy and all sorts of bad stuff going down. You hire bad cops, you hire untrained cops, and you lose the best. And what do? You're paying out, you're paying out, you're paying out, and you're paying out. So more people come to suck off the teat of the city and make allegations and start stuff. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. So look at that, you guys. More than $250 million a year to resolve police misconduct. Last year, 3 times what it was the year before. The city council must ratify all settlements of more than $100,000. This is an ATM. Here we go. More conservative older people, says Channel 11, say the city's lawyers and their colleagues are too eager to settle cases before trial, you think? According to older people, those older people, the conservative ones. That encourages those guilty of criminal wrongdoing to sue in the city in hopes of an easy payday. Absolutely. The ATM is wide open. I want to talk about ShotSpotter and Brandon Johnson and some of the latest on that. Also, how many people were shot over the weekend? Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson talking to Trump about what he can do to help stop the thugs, his Hug a Thug program. All that coming up next. Oh, and how do you stop a man who's been cuffed and stuffed 30 times? How do you end up stopping him? Well, you got to jump in the backyard of the governor's. If it's your backyard, you're screwed. If it's the governor's backyard, they'll take him into custody. All that next. Chris and for Dan, AM 560, The Answer.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
Most Americans think of Abraham Lincoln and they think of the Civil War or the Emancipation. But in 1862, he signed another hugely significant piece of legislation, the Homestead Act. It offered eligible Americans up to 160 acres of land, not as a prize for the powerful, but as an opportunity for ordinary families willing to live on it, work it, and build something lasting. Why did it matter? Because Lincoln understood that freedom was not merely the absence of tyranny. Rather, freedom required responsibility, labor, stewardship, and moral courage. A free people must be given room to build, but they also must be willing to cultivate what they have been given. That still matters today. Liberty without responsibility decays. Opportunity without character collapses. Lincoln's lesson is clear. A nation stays free when its people remain willing to work, build, and steward freedom under God.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8924. 800-575-8924. That's 800-575-8924.
Well, the experts did their best with this season's flu vaccine, but the virus mutated and the vaccine could not keep up. But here is the truth. The most powerful defense against viruses isn't something man-made. It is the God-given immune system that you were born with. And the best immune system booster that I, Scott Jennings, know of is Virago. Virago. It is a liquid immune enhancement supplement featuring 23 potent nutraceuticals working synergistically to enhance your immune system against assaults. Trust the design that God gave you and strengthen your body's immune system with Virago, the ultimate immune enhancement cocktail. Order it online today. Visit myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code Jennings to save 30%. Myvirago.com. Coupon code Jennings saves you 30%.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
Shh, here he comes. Surprise! The people above your catering business are doing major construction, and the drilling is only during business hours. So loud!
Progressive knows small business owners usually don't like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting personalized discounts on a commercial auto quote with Progressive.
Also, that isn't powdered sugar on the floor. It's plaster from your ceiling.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Take the journey of living a happy, successful, and meaningful life through God. Listen to It's Time with Dan Lights, Sunday mornings at 9 on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life. AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer. Chris Crock and for Dan Proft. Follow me on social media, X, Insta, Facebook, at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show, CHRIS. KROK. Podcast is on all those channels, plus on YouTube and Rumble at Crock Talk, KROK, TALK. Up next, we're going to talk to somebody that'll be great to talk about the death of Lindsey Graham. Andy Brack, the editor and publisher of the Charleston City Paper and the State House Report on everything Lindsey Graham. So much stuff coming out even now. I'll share with you next. Chris Crock, AM 560, The Answer, WIND, Chicago.
Remembering Senator Lindsey Graham. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We lost a great man. He was a great man. He was a great politician.
President Trump just paid tribute to the late Republican who died suddenly Saturday night, telling Fox and Friends.
He was a kind man. And you know who really lost? Israel, Ukraine, a lot of countries that he really fought for.
Senator Graham died the day after returning from Ukraine, where he was working on tougher sanctions on Russia, trying to end the war. President Volodymyr Zelensky posted on X that Graham was a true defender of freedom. The Washington, D.C. Medical Examiner reports a preliminary cause of death for the 71-year-old senator was a tear in the aorta as a result of cardiovascular disease. Now, the late senator was running for re-election, so now what?
South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster will appoint someone to fill Senator Graham's seat for the remainder of his term. President Trump has said he has someone in mind, but would wait a bit before saying who it is. This is separate from the special election that will take place likely August 11th to find who will replace Graham as a Republican nominee for Senate. He had won his June primary.
That's Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Back to the president. He also talked to Fox about the renewed fighting with Iran.
They're a bad group of people. They've been this way for a long time. And right now, they're getting their ass kicked.
This after the U.S. military hit Iran with several waves of attacks, targeting Iran's air defense, radar sites, and drone and missile capabilities. After Iran hit another ship in the Strait of Hormuz over the weekend, trying to control that shipping waterway, though the president says the U.S. will keep it open.
And we should be reimbursed for that. When we do that, we're going to be reimbursed because the other nations are very wealthy. They're on our side.
Iran has also been attacking some Gulf countries. Actor Sam Neill is being mourned, best known for his role in the Jurassic Park dinosaur movies.
She was like my favorite when I was a kid. Now I see she's the most beautiful thing I ever saw.
Sam Neill died today in Australia at the age of 78. America's listening to Fox News. 73 degrees in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Hot with plenty of sunshine to start another heat wave-filled week and a high of 94. The City Council committee could take the city one step closer today to a new parking meter deal. City's Finance Committee is expected to vote today on the owner transfer of Chicago parking meters to Stonepeak Partners. Politico is reporting that Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias is launching an extensive television campaign this morning as he seeks re-election, a move that also lands just a couple of weeks before candidates can begin circulating petitions for Chicago's February mayoral election. The FAA is extending a limit on the number of flights at O'Hare into next year. Daily flights have been limited to just over 2,700 since May. The new reduction will last through October of 2027 and is a way to reduce delays. 7 were shot, 5 killed in East St. Louis Sunday morning. All of the victims are related.
It's very sad, very sad. It makes you wonder, like, what would make them do such a thing? And that's where I'm at with that. Like, why? What would be the reason?
2 teens, a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old, are in custody of Illinois State Police. Both suspects are related. Chicago sports. White Sox take home the top prize in the MLB draft, claiming UCLA shortstop Rock Chalowski with the first pick on Saturday, and then took a local favorite.
With the 34th pick of the 2026 MLB draft, the Chicago White Sox select Landon Tomei, a shortstop from Nazareth Academy, LaGrange Park, Illinois.
Yes, that's the son of Hall of Famer Jim Tomei, who Landon played for Nazareth Academy in LaGrange Park. Tomei, a Peoria native, played for the Sox from 2006 to 2009. And the first-place White Sox swept out their 3-game home series with the A's. With a 9-1 win, headed to the All-Star break, the Cubs, winners over the Reds, 8-4. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
MGM Resorts is said to be talking with investor Barry Diller, who made an offer for the business about a month ago. Diller's People, Inc. valued the company at around $12.4 billion. The Wall Street Journal says MGM set up a special board committee and advisors to evaluate the proposal, though some sources say MGM believes it undervalues the business. Stock futures have turned lower. Crude oil prices are higher following renewed Mideast tensions. Multiple reports say United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain is being investigated by the Justice Department. Investigators are said to be looking into whether Fain took actions to improperly financially benefit his fiancée and whether he retaliated against another senior union member who objected to the actions. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda. Invested in you.
Sean Fest returns on August 28th at the Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. Be a part of a live, on-location broadcast of The Sean Thompson Show, including a performance of the national anthem, followed by live music, food, drinks, and an opportunity to meet Sean Thompson. Registration is free. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SHAUN Fest. Sponsored in part by Virago and by State Farm Insurance Agent Anthony DeGrotto.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
Most Americans think of Abraham Lincoln and they think of the Civil War or the Emancipation. But in 1862, he signed another hugely significant piece of legislation, the Homestead Act. It offered eligible Americans up to 160 acres of land, not as a prize for the powerful, but as an opportunity for ordinary families willing to live on it, work it, and build something lasting. Why did it matter? Because Lincoln understood that freedom was not merely the absence of tyranny. Rather, freedom required responsibility, labor, stewardship, and moral courage. A free people must be given room to build, but they also must be willing to cultivate what they have been given. That still matters today. Liberty without responsibility decays. Opportunity without character collapses. Lincoln's lesson is clear. A nation stays free when its people remain willing to work, build, and steward freedom under God.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your saving? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, it's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SHELTER to the number 989898. Text SHELTER to 989898.
8:08. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Sean Thompson Show. Subscribe, free, 560theanswer.com/podcast. Accidents in the cleanup stage. One in Wheaton this morning, Front Street and Hale. And vehicles being cleared from Route 132 in Gurnee eastbound, right by the Tri-State. An earlier accident slowing things up on I-80 eastbound between LaGrange Road to past Oak Park Avenue, and slowdowns on the Stevenson northbound between Ashland and the Dan Ryan Merge. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Now the latest forecast in our Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Today, expect sunny skies with a high of 94. Tonight will be clear and warm with a low of 74. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny and very hot, reaching a high of 96. Wednesday will also be mostly sunny and hot with a high of 96. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crockett for Dan Proft. 312-642-5600 is our number, 312-642-5600. In a few, we should be able to get Andy Brack, editor and publisher of the Charleston City Paper and State House Report, the inside scoop on everything Lindsey Graham, as a lot of us are mourning today, whether you liked him or not. Some great stories. President Trump this morning. Before I even play President Trump's latest, I want to share this. This is a brilliant take. Jeff Flake, I retweeted this from a little earlier this morning. Jeff Flake, remember him, Republican from Arizona, was on NPR tonight to talk about Graham. He spoke fondly of his former Senate colleague, who personally liked a great deal. He personally liked a great deal, as did everybody apparently. But he couldn't countenance his embrace of Trump. It occurred to me, this guy writes, these two succinctly embody the two paths for the old GOP. Align with Trump and stick around as one of the most influential figures in American life, or stubbornly and sanctimoniously refuse and spend the back end of your career doing Sunday night hits on Democrat Party radio. A valuable lesson. Kind of like Dirk Diggler at the end of Boogie Nights in the parking lot. That's kind of what this guy's resigned himself to. How's that working out for you, sir? Let's go to Trump from this morning.
Now, he had one bad moment, and that was, the January 6th thing when he stood up. All right, now I've had it. That's it. I can't do it anymore. And then he called me like about 40 minutes later, and he said, did I really say that? I can't believe it. And he took it back, so I give him a 99 instead of a 100. A lot of people were at 100, but he did have that one little moment, and it was sort of funny when he goes, did you see it, by the way? I've had it. Now I've had it. He was just, I was too much for him. He said, this is it. I've had it.
President Trump, you really can tell he's mourning. I mean, you hear him on this phone call last night. Let's hear that.
I got a call last night sometime at, the early evening, maybe in the 7s, and he called and he said, we're all set for the Save America Act. He was pushing the Save America Act like crazy. He got back, said he just landed from Ukraine. I said, that's a long trip to make. He said, he sounded a little tired, but perfect, but a little bit tired. Had a right to be. And he was a worker. He was really a worker. But he sounded great, actually. But he actually said he was tired. But he wanted to pass the Save America Act. And I said, well, we're going to get it done, Lindsay. We're going to get it done. I'll see you like soon. We thought maybe we might even meet today. And then that was it. And that was, very around the time. It couldn't have been much longer. It could have been his last call. I don't know exactly, but I got a message about 1 o'clock in the morning from one of the people at his office that he had passed away. I said, I just can't believe it. He was like a member of the family to me. It's very tough, actually. It's amazing.
Mr. President,
he was such an advocate. He was, if he wanted to get something, and he had a unique ability. He was able to deal with Democrats and Republicans. If I had a problem, a real problem, I wouldn't often ask. But if I had a problem with a Democrat, he could work it out. He was a great politician, actually.
He made people really, really laugh a lot. Let's go to one of those classic Lindsey Graham one-liners. Here we go.
You've humiliated this guy enough, and there seems to be no bottom for some of you.
If he would say a polygraph, it would all be over, Senator
So
Graham.
why don't we dunk him in water and see if he floats?
There's another picture I just retweeted a few seconds ago on my Twitter feed at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show, CHRASKROK. And he's adjusting his tie and smirking while some lady behind him is screaming with some stupid banner trying to yell at him. So he was born for this. Raised in a pool hall, like his parents owned a pool hall / bar / restaurant. He was on the other side, the back of it, where his room was, and he said it was great. He can go get a Coke anytime he wanted to. And he was a C student in high school. He went off to become a Gamecock, University of South Carolina. And while he was in college, his sister, both of his parents passed away. One, his mom from Hodgkin's lymphoma. And then about 15 months later, his father died. I think he had pancreatic cancer, and then he got a heart attack. Around the same age, I think he died at 69. I might be off on that one, but so Lindsey literally became the guardian to his 13-year-old sister while in college. And you know how hard it is for a single parent to get by. Can you imagine being a young man in college and taking ward of your sister, if you will, taking custody of her as her guardian while going to college, and then while going as a Gamecock after his first 4 years to law school, and still being the guardian of his sister, and succeeding, graduating law school, serving his country for 33 years, retiring as a full bird colonel. In 2015, at 61 years of age, he retired as a full bird colonel. He would sleep, for example, Ukraine, when he just went to Ukraine, he would sleep in a sleeping bag on the floor of these cargo planes because he flew on the military cargo planes, and that was the only place he could get rest. And then he would arrive in Poland, and then he had to take, because you can't fly, obviously, in the air over Ukraine, took a 10-hour train drive or ride into Ukraine, where he was on Friday. The aortic, what he had happen was an aortic dissection. And before I get into that, I want to tell you from Axios this morning, Trump told Graham he was preparing to launch fresh strikes against Iran on their conversation Saturday evening. He was going to launch fresh strikes against Iran after another attack on commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz. A person who spoke with Graham shortly afterwards said the senator complained he was feeling unwell. When the person urged him to seek medical attention immediately, Graham said he would do so Sunday morning after his scheduled appearance on NBC's Meet the Press. Graham then jokes, "I can't die now. I still need to do the Russia sanctions, get Iran sorted out, and do..." This is so funny, though. He's like, "I can't die now. I still need to do the Russian sanctions, get Iran sorted out, and do Israeli-Saudi normalization." He passed away several hours later. And aortic dissection, a medical emergency when a tear happens in the inner layer of a body's main artery. The artery is called the aorta. Blood rushes through the tear, causes the inner and middle layers of the artery to split, called a dissection. It only occurs in 5 to 30 cases per 1 million each year. So he basically had we'll round it to like a 15 to 20 out of a million chance of that happening to him. So just a difficult time for a lot of folks. And I want to play a little more audio. Here is Lindsey Graham, of course, defending Brett Kavanaugh.
What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them.
And here he was fighting ferociously. This is like a 3.5-minute piece. I pulled different parts of it.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. Are you a gang rapist?
No.
I cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham, that you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it, because these have been my friends. But let me tell you, when it comes to this, you're looking for a fair process. You came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend. Here's my understanding. If you lived a good life, people would recognize it, like the American Bar Association has the gold standard. His integrity is absolutely unquestioned. He is the very circumspect in his personal conduct, harbors no biases or prejudices. He's entirely ethical, is a really decent person. He is warm, friendly, unassuming. He's the nicest person. The ABA. And one thing I can tell you, you should be proud of. Ashley, you should be proud of this, that you raised a daughter who had the good character to pray for Dr. Ford. To my Republican colleagues, if you vote no, you're legitimizing the most despicable thing I have seen in my time in politics. You want this seat? I hope you never get it. I hope you're on the Supreme Court. That's exactly where you should be. And I hope that the American people will see through this charade. And I wish you well, and I intend to vote for you, and I hope everybody who's fair-minded will.
You take this kind of simple, if you will, not stupid, but simple country guy from South Carolina, first one to get a college education, first one to go to law school, raising his sister, his much younger sister, and then running for office, winning, and then running for Congress, and then winning, and then in 2003 running for Senate and winning. And he would become one of the most powerful senators in the United States of America and one of the most powerful politicians in the world. And then it is very remarkable, that juxtaposition between him and Jeff Flake, the disgraced former senator from Arizona, who's now doing live hits on Democrat shows on Sunday night. You know, it's a simple choice on how you want to go. But Lindsey Graham also had a lot of fun. Like this time when he was interviewing Elena Kagan for her nomination for Supreme Court. Listen to how this went.
Where are you at on Christmas Day?
Senator Graham, that is an undecided legal issue, which, I suppose I should ask exactly what you mean by that. I'm assuming that the question you mean is whether a person who was apprehended in the United States is...
No, I just asked you where you were at on Christmas.
You know, like all Jews, I was probably at a Chinese restaurant.
Great answer. Great answer.
You know, I could almost see that one coming. And I thought,
Me too. So you were celebrating
Senator Schumer explained this to me earlier.
Yeah, he did.
If I might, no other restaurants are open.
Right. You were with your family on Christmas Day at a Chinese restaurant. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's great. That's what Hanukkah and Christmas is all about.
But then he would take the dumbest ever nominated and dumbest ever and most activist Supreme Court justice there may ever be in the history of America, Ketanji Brown Jackson, and grill her.
Her judicial philosophy is to rule impartially.
No, my judicial philosophy is to rule impartially and to rule consistent with the limitations on my authority as a judge. And so my methodology actually helps me to do that in every case.
So you wouldn't say that you're an activist judge?
I would not say that.
Okay. So we'll have 20 minutes more later on, but here's what I would say. That every group that wants to pack the court, that believes this court is a bunch of right-wing nuts that are going to destroy America, that consider the Constitution trash, all wanted you picked. And this is all I can say, is the fact that so many of these left-wing radical groups that would destroy the law as we know it declared war on Michelle Childs and supported you is problematic for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Graham.
Well, we know Joe Biden sure knows how to pick a winner based on race and gender. There you go. You got your winner, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Quite the mental midget. Okay, I want to get back to the Chicago. Our guest from South Carolina was not able to make it. He had some serious flight problems, and we couldn't get him on, unfortunately. But wanted to get back to shooting, violence, and such. We had first of all, we have a great news for Brandon Johnson. His effort to continue his Hug a Thug program, where you just need job training, or you need what is it? Internships or mentorships. That's what they need. A thug just needs a job. No, a thug doesn't want a job, Brandon. Well, here's what Brandon gets us. He gets us 21 shot, 3 fatally in a weekend of violence. 15 people shot, 1 fatally, and a 16-year-old boy was shot. I think a 14-year-old also got shot, but there he is. Meantime, from CWB Chicago, shooting victim found by passerby as Chicago continues to wait for mayor's promised shot spotter replacement. Now, I know some CPD folk that are not fans of shot spotter. The retired police chief of Fort Worth, Dallas-Fort Worth, here where I'm sitting as a Chicago transplant to Dallas-Fort Worth, the recently retired, but great former police chief of Fort Worth went to Chicago and checked out ShotSpotter for the city of Fort Worth, for example, at the time when it was still being used. Brandon Johnson disconnected, as we all know, in September 2024. His administration, CWB Chicago reports, has largely stonewalled city council efforts to learn more about the proposals it received after seeking bids to replace ShotSpotter. Well, CWB says Sound Thinking, ShotSpotter's parent company, is known to have submitted a proposal. Speculation has circulated that its system, ShotSpotter, the company, may have performed best during the city's independent testing, potentially leaving Johnson in the politically difficult position of announcing that the company has repeatedly criticized offered the strongest solution. Yes! This is consistent with the Brandon Johnson we know. CWB says since Johnson ended the city's relationship with the gunfire detection system, CWB Chicago has identified 87 cases, they call them Brandon's bodies, right? In which gunshot victims appear to have endured lengthy waits for emergency responders in areas previously covered by ShotSpotter because nobody called 911 to report gunfire or because the reports were made that were too vague. And among the victims involved in these delayed responses, the fatality rate is 3 times higher. Great job, Browning. You're helping to kill your constituents, huh? So how much you want to bet that they're onto something there, that it's the very system he canceled is the one that turned out the best one, and that's probably why he doesn't want you to know about it. I'll bet you that's accurate. Okay, coming up next, 10-time felon, another great story from CWB Chicago. 10-time felon escapes from electronic monitoring for days until he's found in the governor's backyard on the Gold Coast. All that next. Chris in for Dan, AM 560, The Answer.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Sean Thompson here. Recently, someone asked me, what is it that I love most about being on AM 560, The Answer? I didn't hesitate. I love the fact that AM 560 is a family. You, the listeners, our advertisers, and all of us who are on air make up one big family in a very bad place. We look out for each other because we share the same values. And so many of our advertisers are small and medium businesses. They're owners who work very hard, they play by the rules, they pay their taxes, they make their communities even stronger. If that describes you, and you own or operate a business, then I want to invite you to consider working with AM 560 to market your business. If you want to reach AM 560 family members, whether through radio, live events, or digital marketing, then call Amy O'Toole. She's a wonderful girl. She's in charge of advertising around here. Call her at 847-472-8925. That's 847-472-8925. Find out how you can become part of the AM 560 family. Together, our family can truly help make America great again.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again. Not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family-owned with integrity since 1981.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year. They want to make 2026 the best year ever. So to thank you, they are giving you free shipping on your entire order and wholesale pricing. So they are bringing back the mega sale. For example, the classic MyPillows, regularly $49.98, now only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Order now and your entire order ships absolutely free.
It's news, opinion, and insight at the speed of your life. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
74 degrees at 8:31 in the QC Kinetics newsroom, and it is the start of a new week and the start of a new heat wave. We'll top out at 94 today. Chicago City Council Committee could take the step, and the city one step closer to a new parking meter deal. Former Inspector General Joe Ferguson says city council members should be wringing concessions out of the new buyer.
That this investment firm should want to make to the city of Chicago as a newcomer to the city. So what does that mean? That could mean millions, maybe even $10 million a year, that sort of thing. The way we used to talk about these things is $1 million here, $1 million there, and pretty soon you're talking about real money.
The City Council Finance Committee is expected to vote today on the owner transfer of the parking meters. Politico reporting that Secretary of State Alexei Janulius is launching an extensive television advertising campaign this morning as he seeks re-election, a move that also lands just 2 weeks before candidates can begin circulating petitions for Chicago's February mayoral election. The Senate will return today for the first time since Senator Lindsey Graham's death. Tributes are pouring in, including those from President Donald Trump on Fox this morning.
If I had Democrat problems, he could solve them. He was a man of all different abilities, actually, and he was a nice man. He was a great guy.
Graham died over the weekend at 71 after a brief and sudden heart-related illness. Iran claiming responsibility for several attacks against U.S. bases in several Gulf states today, including Kuwait, Bahrain, Jordan, Oman, and Qatar. 7 were shot in East St. Louis on Sunday morning. 5 of the 7 are now dead. 2 are in critical condition. All of the victims related.
You can look at the family relationship and the relationship to the suspects that have been apprehended, and you can see that it was focused on this particular family.
Illinois State Police yesterday confirming 2 teens, a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old, are in custody of the Illinois State Police. A man is accused of trespassing at Governor Pritzker's home in Chicago. Court documents say Dwayne Milton was seen on camera jumping over a fence and entering the backyard of Pritzker's Gold Coast neighborhood home on July 4. Chicago sports, baseball into the All-Star break with a Cub win over the Reds 8-4 and a White Sox win over the A's 9-1. The news, a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Download the app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. Check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher believes the time has come for change.
President Trump is right when he says nobody grants birthright citizenship to anyone, anywhere in the world. We're the only country that has allowed the left to hijack this ridiculous issue. Everybody knows the way the Democrats have manipulated the birthright citizenship clause of the Constitution.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9 on AM 560, The Answer.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
Most Americans think of Abraham Lincoln and they think of the Civil War or the Emancipation. But in 1862, he signed another hugely significant piece of legislation, the Homestead Act. It offered eligible Americans up to 160 acres of land, not as a prize for the powerful, but as an opportunity for ordinary families willing to live on it, work it, and build something lasting. Why did it matter? Because Lincoln understood that freedom was not merely the absence of tyranny. Rather, freedom required responsibility, labor, stewardship, and moral courage. A free people must be given room to build, but they also must be willing to cultivate what they have been given. That still matters today. Liberty without responsibility decays. Opportunity without character collapses. Lincoln's lesson is clear. A nation stays free when its people remain willing to work, build, and steward freedom under God.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Each morning, the newsmakers and the newsbreakers shaping today's conversation are heard on the AlphaWealthGroup.com answer line on Chicago's Morning Answer. When you need answers about what's happening in your world, you turn to AM 560 The Answer. And when you need answers about how to prepare for and protect your retirement, you turn to the Alpha Wealth Group, now the proud sponsor of the AM 560 Answer Line, right here on Chicago's source for news, opinion, and insight. AM 560 The Answer.
8:37, the news, a service of Woodland Windows and Doors in Roselle. Brighten your home. Make the rooms in your house look better and bigger with larger windows or patio doors this summer. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your consultation today. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Stop and slow traffic on the Kennedy inbound between Irving Park and Lake. Slowdowns on the Ike. Stop and go outbound Laramie to 25th. Stevenson inbound, northbound between Ashland and the Dan Ryan. You're finding delays. Dan Ryan right now, locals inbound, slowing up between 47th and Roosevelt. Traffic, a service of Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. And those people know they're probably saving a carload of cash right now. What are you waiting for? Check Allstate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, and up next, the latest forecast in the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center. Plenty of sun today. Hot and humid. The beginning of another heat wave, and a high of 94.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crock and for Dan Proft. I have to do this right away because this is just so... I was crying. I was laughing so hard when I saw this. Two things. I retweeted. You can see it on my Twitter feed. This is Mitch McConnell. You know, that he had a picture of himself allegedly sitting next to his wife, Elaine Chao, at a hospital, smiling. Everything's great. Well, now comes this video. Now, admittedly, it's radio. You can't see it. But nonetheless, here's Mitch McConnell, and he decides to do a breakdance.
Honey, show them you're okay.
Mitch is doing his beatboxing. He's swinging around. He's doing his...
See, I told you he was
he's
okay.
doing his moves. And then somebody else has another meme that I retweeted of it's Michael Jackson's Thriller with the zombies part. It's Mitch dancing as a zombie. Oh, that's about right, guys. There we have it. Thank you. All right, goodbye. Well, here's a great story from CWB Chicago. 10-time felon escapes from electronic monitoring for days. And the only reason why he was found is because he hopped into the wrong backyard on the Gold Coast, J.B. Pritzker's Gold Coast mansion. Remarkable. This is the suspect here has 60, more than 60 cases in the criminal court history of Cook County. Felony convictions for burglary in 2024, retail theft in 2023, 2014, 2011, 2 robberies in 2005, arrested 3 times between April 5th and May 5th, all for shoplifting. Most recent arrest resulted in a felony theft retail charge. And, of course, Cook County Chief Judge Charles Beach says he has a public pledge to major violations of the court's electronic monitoring program would be brought before a judge within 24 hours, except for 10-time convict Dwayne Milton. So he was off the monitor for way more than 3 hours. 24 hours, they finally pulled the trigger, and they couldn't find him. He's out there for days on the lam, and then he jumps in the backyard of the governor's mansion and was taken into custody by Illinois State Police. So what happens if this guy hops in your backyard and you're not the governor of Illinois? Well, you're screwed. So that ankle monitoring program is working just great, Judge Beach. We know you're handling it really well. Great job. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. Some folks chiming in want to chat. 312-642-5600 is our number. 312-642-5600. Let's go to John. John, you're on AM 560. The Answer. Chris in for Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, I just wanted to say regarding Lindsey Graham and his legacy, despite the fact that in 2016 he said Trump was unfit for office, and after Trump's stolen election lies caused everything we saw on January 6th, Lindsey Graham said, I have to say, I've had it. Enough is enough. I think that ultimately Lindsey Graham's legacy will be that, like so many other Republicans, he was a political animal. He was ultimately unprincipled. He would always crawl back to Trump. That's what he always did. And I think that's how he'll be remembered.
Let's take Jeff Flake. You know how Jeff Flake did the opposite, right? He, like you said, he was principled. He stood up to Trump, right? Arizona senator, former Arizona senator. Remember him?
I wasn't commenting about Jeff Flake, but okay.
No, well, we're talking about this, and you're talking about Lindsey and Trump, and so let's talk about Jeff Flake and Trump. Jeff Flake was on NPR. Okay. I don't know why it's funny, but Jeff Flake was on NPR last night to talk about Lindsey Graham. He spoke fondly of his former Senate colleague. Yeah, he personally liked him a great deal, as did everyone apparently, but he couldn't countenance his embrace of Trump. It occurred to me, says this one Twitter guy, these two succinctly embody the two paths for the old GOP. One, which Lindsey did, like you're talking about, align with Trump, stick around as one of the most influential figures in American life. Or do Jeff Flake, which you prefer, sanctimoniously refuse and spend the back end of your career doing Sunday night hits, live hits on Democrat Party radio. So I think Senator Lindsey Graham is a lot more powerful than Jeff Flake ever will be, even in death. It's called being politically astute. Lindsey Graham, everything that Lindsey Graham wanted to accomplish and everything Lindsey Graham stood for was achieved at the pinnacle that it could ever be achieved because he pivoted to work with the person the Republican Party put in office 3 times. And Jeff Flake didn't. Jeff Flake has no power. The things that Jeff Flake believes in, the things that Jeff Flake would like to affect in our laws, in our country, in the world, will never come to fruition because he played the way you suggest he played. Which one's wiser? I think everybody knows the answer is pretty obvious. Jim in South Elgin, you're on. My wife was born in Elgin. You're live on AM 560 The Answer. Chris in for Dan.
Good morning, sir. Good topics. And another thing that occurred this week, too, they announced that Father Flagler is being removed from the pulpit because of some sort of pedophilic or some sort of child situation that happened 30 years ago. And I think this is a bogus charge. And this weekend I was on Urban Talk Radio saying, you know what, here's another charge against Father Flagler, and just like with Donald Trump, all these charges were made, not really proven. There's a lot of things manipulated. So you may not like Trump, and so the people all get on the bandwagon, oh, Trump, pedophilia, blah, blah. But here's Father Flagler, and now this is happening to him. Is this fair? So you better think about what you guys are cheering for, because if it's your turn, if it's your ex to be, they're going to ex you. Well,
let's
go after you.
Yeah. Let's take your example. Let's take your example and let's flip it. In the same vein, though, let's look at accusations of sexual assault and sexual violence and violence against women with Graham Plattner. If you are a Republican and he sexually assaults you or beats you, according to your own allegations, you're not to be believed. It's not that big of a deal, and you don't we don't want to chase down all the names and people to corroborate, like your roommates in the row house you were at when Graham Plattner was allegedly stalking you. You don't want to talk to people that can corroborate that he was sexually assaulting you or sexually violent with you or violent with you. You don't want to call those 3 people, a la the New York Times. But when a Democrat comes out, that second lady, Miss Rakashet, I think was her name, or something like that. Rakashet. When she comes out, oh, she's a Democrat. Oh, well, you can't commit sexual violence or sexual assault against a Democrat. A Republican, you can. but not a Democrat. And so that's what got him to resign, was because, well, the Democrat came out. The women that are Republican, they don't. You can do whatever you want to them. The Democrats don't care about that. Kind of buttresses what you're saying. Diana, you are in Buffalo Grove, where I lived for most of my age 12 to 21. How are you?
Very good, thanks. I would like to comment on Senator Graham. I knew Lindsey, and he is and will remain, and his legacy is that he was one of the most principled leaders we've ever had. As I said to you, I may not have agreed with him on every single issue that he proposed, espoused, what have you. However, he was committed to America's safety. He was certainly committed to our allies. And he was pragmatic. He understood, as I guess Reagan did, well, if you get 51% of goodness and we're still leading the way, that's the way to go. And the sign that he has friendship in the Senate on all sides of the aisle also means that people knew the man had integrity and that he wasn't working for the party. He was a patriot. And I'm sorry if people don't understand and say, oh, yeah, he pivots like an idiot. Hardly. He was the most principled, wonderful man who ultimately did advance our country and was steadfast with all of our allies. And he, in his personal life, everything that he did to help his sister and others is really very wonderful. And I hope that his legacy, we should always be very proud and follow, a shred of his fine examples.
You know, Diane, you can't figure out, like, if you are a senator and everything that you stand for and believe in and everything you wish to achieve in your state, in the country, and in the world, to think that you could either pivot and do what Lindsey Graham did to become literally one of the most powerful politicians there is, or you could become Jeff Flake and be a former U.S. senator. That tells the whole thing. Right. I mean, the question would be to anybody, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, whether you hate Trump, whether you hate Lindsey Graham or not, doesn't matter. Whatever you stand for, whatever you believe in, what is the best way to effectuate the change that you wish to do? Is it to be Jeff Flake, light your hair on fire and jump off a bridge? Or is it to be Lindsey Graham, pivot and get a lot of what you ever wanted accomplished? He literally had a direct ear. He's one of the very few people in the world, let alone in the United States Senate or in the United States House or Senate or anywhere, that had a direct ear to the President of the United States of America for in a second term. That is literally the most amazing power that anybody could have, and Jeff Flake threw it away because he's a fool. He's a twit. And he could say, well, I'm principled.
Exactly.
Great, buddy, you're principled. You're doing a live hit on NPR on a Sunday night. There you go. There's his effectuate. Right. He's mentally pleasing Democrats. I guess that's his thing, Appreciate your call. Thank you. 312-642-5600 is our number, 312-642-5600. Chris Kroc, of course, and for Dan Proft. Oh, this is good. Paul Vallis. I've had the privilege of interviewing him on AM 560 The Answer, when filling in for Dan in the past, and he writes a column on JohnCastNews.com. Progressive policies have left Illinois the least equitable state in the country. Just some highlights from this great column he wrote over the weekend. Black Americans vote with their feet. Remember, everything that the Democrats, Pritzker, et al. Stand for is equity. Yes. Equity. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Oh, equity. Okay, well, let's see. Let's see what equity gets you in the state of Illinois. Black Americans, Vallis writes, vote with their feet. Pew Research reports that from 2010 to 2024, the largest gains in black residents were in Texas, where I'm sitting, Florida, and Georgia. Texas added over 1 million black residents. Remember, we're a red state. We're racist, right? We're racist. Florida added over 745,000, but we in Texas added over 1 million in just 14 years, guys. Illinois, by contrast, was among the few places where black population declined. What do you mean you're declining? There's all this equity. It's everywhere. Equity's being thrown at you. You're surrounded by equity. What's wrong? Do you need reparations? Why are you leaving us? A Wallet Hub study on racial equity ranked Illinois dead last out of all 50 states. Vallis writes, the study measured disparities between black and white residents across 8 key metrics: poverty, homelessness, homeownership, unsheltered homeless, labor force participation, executive positions, median income, and unemployment. All of the liberal, Democrat, leftist policies have done is ruin the lives of black Americans, causing them to flee and get out and come to the very places that J.B. Pritzker rails against. Remember when, I was filling in for Dan when the twits from my state legislature in Texas fled to Chicago. Remember that? And J.B. Pritzker goes, this is great. I love these guys. We're hiding them out. Well, you're succeeding, J.B. Look, let's see here. Black unemployment in Illinois is almost 3 times the rate of white unemployment. That's a great metric, JB. That's great. The diversity's working great. 3 times more unemployment for blacks. Wallet Hub says Illinois has the nation's 8th largest racial wealth gap, along with one of the country's worst black-white income gaps and one of its largest poverty gaps. Look what leftists and Democrat policies bring you. Poverty. The Chicago Sun-Times reports since 2000, Vallis writes, the city has lost over 250,000 black residents, mostly middle income. They're voting with their feet, and they're getting the hell out of the state of Illinois. Got a little bit more I want to share with you coming up next, including from Mark Lennon at WirePoints when he visited Dan recently on AM 560 Chicago's Morning Answer about Illinois, the under 20 population, the other populations that are older. They're all fleeing. Our young folk are fleeing Illinois. All that next. Chris Crocken for Dan Proft, AM 560, The Answer.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Joint pain is awful when you're the person fighting through it, but I'm betting you aren't the only one affected. Maybe you love someone who struggles with joint pain. It's summer, time to be outside, moving and playing. But you or your loved one is sitting it out again. Hey, it's Dan Proft here. Get your life back. Talk with my friends at QC Kinetics. That's what's happening every day at QC Kinetics. Patients are finding real relief in their hips, knees, shoulders, and backs thanks to regenerative treatment done in the office by Dr. Caravelli and the QC Kinetics medical team. No surgery, no long recovery, just real relief. Inflammation eases, the pain lets go. I've seen the results. QC Kinetics patients are happy and wish they would have done it sooner. If you're living with chronic joint pain and want an alternative to surgery, contact my friends at QC Kinetics, longtime sponsors of AM 560. Consultations are free. Weekend appointments are available. Schedule an appointment today by calling 312-827-6261. Again, 312-827-6261. Once more, that phone number, 312-827-6261.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
Hey, business owners, is your business and money in good hands? Does your bank invest in your success? Hi, Mike Gallagher here, letting you know that when you need a relationship bank, Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. I love these guys. Not only do they have expansive industry experience, a strong financial track record, but they're also highly capitalized for strategic growth. That's so important. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. They know what it means to grow a business by designing solutions that are right for you and only you. These are real people. They're ready to help. So reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Make the call today, 773-467-5630, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Your business could be Signature Bank's next success story. Go online, signaturebank.bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Signature Bank.
AM 560, The Answer.
Great song. AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crock and for Dan Proft. Follow me on social media, X, Instagram, Facebook, at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show, CHRISKROK. Podcast is on there as well as YouTube and Rumble under Crock Talk, KROKTALK. All right, so a little bit more from this this column from Paul Vallis. The response to progressives has not been to re-examine their policies with all the horrifying results with black Americans, black Chicagoans, and black Illinoisans. It's to double down. They're calling for reparations more and more in a state that contributed, listen to this, calling for reparations in a state that contributed more soldiers, 256,000, and lost more residents, around 33,000, to the Union cause than any other northern state except New York. We lost more casualties and soldiers served than any state except for New York, and they're still calling for, the leftist Democrats are still calling for reparations. For what? For what? The lives of the Illinoisans who gave their lives in the Civil War. Unbelievable. Mark Glennon recently visiting Dan on Chicago's Morning Answer. Illinois' under 20 population declining by nearly 7% just in the past 5 years. 3 times faster than the national average decline of 2%. So 3 times as many under 20 population declining. Population of people in their 20s nationwide grew 4.5%. Illinois grew only 1%. National population of people in their 30s grew 4.5%. Illinois grew by barely a half. Every single freaking metric shows a massive failure, and people still keep voting for this garbage. It's as if they're calling and saying, I want garbage. Give me more garbage. Give me more garbage. That's the insanity of the left. Well, I will see you next time. Lots of different folks filling in this week for Dan, and check them out each day. You get a new flavor. I'll see you next time. And, one more thing, too. Mick Jagger, my favorite artist of all time, he loves playing Chicago, says avoid politics, unlike Bruce Springsteen. Don't lecture your fans. Amen. This is AM 560, The Answer, WIND, Chicago.
Paying tribute to late Senator Lindsey Graham. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
A great person, a kind person, a very smart person.
And President Trump also tells Fox and Friends this morning.
You know, we have mostly bad politicians. We have stupid politicians all over the place. This guy was a great politician.
Senator Graham died Saturday night, and a report from the Washington